2 weeks free. Pay 1 month and get a month free. Showtime Furniture, located at MacArthur and Lee, is also continuing to save you money on all furniture and appliances with up to 6 months, same as cash. A take-home today layaway with the same as cash price for up to 6 months. Showtime Furniture allows you to rent to own at no charge. Free service, free delivery, no credit check, no long-term obligation. Huge early payout options with weekly, bi-weekly, and monthly payment plans. Double your money with 6 months, same as cash, all month long at Showtime Furniture in Alexandria. Like Bossman says, let them have it.
Hello, Sinla. I'm Dr. Kelvin Spears, Chief Medical Officer of Alexandria Emergency Hospital, located at 5900 Coliseum Boulevard, next to Wendy's. Our mission at Alexandria Emergency Hospital is to provide our patients, both adults and children, with the best possible healthcare experience, with short wait times and a relaxing environment. Alexandria Emergency Hospital is open 24/7, 365. We have board certified doctors available for expert pediatric and adult care for both inpatient and ER services. We can provide outpatient services like MRI, X-ray, ultrasound, and CT scans. We have a clinical lab and on-site pharmacy and can facilitate inpatient stays through our state-of-the-art hospital rooms. For more information about our services, you can give us a call at 318-386-8110. That's 318-386-8110. Or visit us online at www.alexandriaer.com. Again, I'm Dr. Kelvin Spears, and remember, for all your emergency needs, come see us at Alexandria Emergency Hospital, your hometown ER and hospital.
My name is Roy Brown. I'm the manager of the Bargain Box. We have new and used furniture, appliances, mattresses, dining room sets, and different other items throughout the store. We also have clothing on consignment. We're open from 10 to 5:30, Monday through Friday, and 10 to 3 on Saturday. We're on Military Highway in Trotters Plaza, and I would just love to invite y'all to come visit.
Did you see the riots at the Capitol? Now that was a wake-up call. Are you woke? You have got to go vote. Early voting started March the 6th and will end on the 13th. Vote Candy Kristoff, number 16. We cannot assume that our freedoms and democracy is guaranteed. It must be protected with your vote. It matters who your congressional representative is. Vote number 16, Candy Kristoff, and I approve this message.
It's Bedu's time, 23 minutes past. Yeah, Q, I know you're busy, but I want to say good morning to you. How you doing this morning? You doing okay?
Good morning, great, ready to go.
Let me ask you this real quick. It's surprisingly cold today, huh? Yeah, it is. She got a jacket on. I got a little sweater vest. Caden got his coat. We told y'all yesterday about the inclement weather, and of course it did come down Google gobs of it. In fact, a lot of people, they got some of the worst weather. I was looking over in Mississippi where they got torrential rain. We had it for a bit. Then the sun came out. I was like, wow. So we'll touch base with the National Weather Service. We have a very informative and long show this morning. A lot of stuff to talk about, some serious topics to talk about, and of course, we're proud to have Dr. Courtney Phillips, Secretary of the Department of Health and Hospitals, giving her first ever radio interview outside of the Baton Rouge area. So we are certainly grateful for that. We got some great questions talking about COVID-19, talking about the disparity and why black folk don't seem to be going to get it. So we're looking forward to that. We got your Rapides Parish School Board update with President Bubba McCall. Of course, he was one of 2 votes voting against the feeder school proposal that is now being pushed by Rapides School Superintendent Jeff Hall. So we're going to have him in the studio and ask him why, because I thought that this thing was getting back to something that he wanted, something called neighborhood schools. So then obviously there's a cog in the wheel. There is a problem, and we're going to ask him directly what's going on with that. With that said, we also have Omari Hosang, Louisiana coordinator for Black Voters Matter. They got thrown a loop in the wrench on yesterday when the Alexandria Mall decided that Black Voters Matter cannot hold their bus tour stop at the mall. I'll explain exactly the situation. This came just a couple of days before the event was scheduled, although through me, we made contact with the mall last week. It was either Thursday or Friday, probably Friday of last week that we initially made phone calls. So we'll talk about that, and they are calling for black folk to be woke and to be strong and to show economic solidarity, and they're asking for a boycott of the Alexandria Mall. With that said, they are asking for a boycott. So I'm just going to give you the facts of what happened. I'm involved in the process because I was asked to help facilitate and be a go-between. But the reason that the Alexandria Mall is saying that Black Voters Matter couldn't have their bus tour stop 2 days before the event was scheduled. There was commercials that were already cut. The mall was aware of this. There was promotional material that was already put out with the mall on it that we had to pull back on and revamp on yesterday. That's why I had a very hectic day, because to me this is about solidarity of black voters mattering. We're trying to do what Georgia did, and of course obtaining those 2 seats. We're trying to do the same thing. When we go out and vote in Louisiana, we can affect change. With that said, we have the largest black population in the country of any state. Didn't even know that until last week. We have the largest black population in the country of any state in the union. We are actually number 1. And it's very rare, Q knows that we're number 1 on something good. And I think having the largest black population in the country as a state is something very good. They're afraid of that, and they're counting on you not to go to the polls. So Black Voters Matter, and I can't speak for them, is not a political organization. They're not a partisan organization. They are a social action organization whose sole premise is for black folk to be registered to vote and exercise their right. They don't tell black folk who to vote for. That's your right. They're like the NAACP, who fights for equal justice of everyone. But they do it on the voter side. And we've seen in this country in the last couple of days, last few months rather, since this Senate race in Georgia, 37 states enact laws to suppress the black vote. So I don't know if this mall reacting this way is part of black voter suppression. I don't know if the management company, which may be out of New York, who owns it, or out of Dallas, but we know that Texas, where men are men, and they have their good old boy network, and not unlike Louisiana, they are strong Trump supporters. I don't know if this was political motivated, but I know I saw a bus out there, Q, several months ago during the first congressional election of a guy who was a Democrat. It sat out there all day. And when I brought that up to the lady who contacted me, and what really disappointed me is the mall manager, Mitch Daniels, and I'll say that. You know, I know him to profess to be a man of God. I am a man of God, and people who know me And one thing I know about men of God, that we're supposed to come together. And I respect all men of God because that's a tough job. And when a man of God calls me, I return his call. I don't get Miss Q to call them. If somebody calls me, I don't have Miss Q call them back. I call them back personally out of being a man of God and out of respect for our relationship. And I thought I had a good relationship with him. I hope I still do. I don't have any animus towards him or the Alexandria Mall whatsoever, because I recognize there's a lot of black-owned businesses there, and I want people to eat. That's what I'm about. So let me get this straight. I am not calling for a boycott of the Alexandria Mall, but I can understand Black Voters Matter being frustrated with what's going on, because I'm going to tell you the truth, and I'm going to tell you the excuses that they gave, and those dogs don't hunt with me. And for the simple fact that I didn't get a call from the mall manager, all of this that happened and them dropping Black Voters Matter 2 days before the event is problematic. Because they were dropped. This is the excuse they gave, Q. Let me make it perfectly clear. They're saying in order for Black Voters Matters to be parked up at their mall and to have this site, that they would have had to be attached to a government organization, a part of a governmental body. Well, guess what? Why tell us that 2 days after you've already asked for liability contracts of $1 million? You've put the insurers that you want on there, listing 7 for a bus stop that's only going to last 2.5 to 3 hours at the most. So had Mitch Daniels called me respectfully as I reached out to his minister, Pastor Henry Williams, to get his number, who I love dearly and who loves me, I went through his minister for him to call me, and I thought I would get the call back. And then I would have been told last week that, Tony, they have to be part of a governmental organization, not 2 days before the event, after you sign the paperwork, the people have gotten the contract. So that old thing that you got to be part of a government organization, that dog don't hunt with me. A lie is a lie, the truth is the truth, and what you just heard from me is the absolute 100% truth. So I can understand the frustration on the eve of the event. You're on 4th down, we're on the goal line, and you have the organization that apparently does not want you there. And this is not maybe coming from management at the mall. This is coming from the owners of the mall, Q. That's where this directive came from, that Black Voters Matter can't have it after they dotted their I's and crossed the T's. And then when I mentioned to the girl who called me on behalf of Mitch Daniels, that, well, why did we see that bus out there last December? And I know exactly what it was. It was Martin LaMelle. He's a Democrat. Well, guess what the excuse they gave me? Well, that was the radio station. I said, oh, well, that's funny. I'm headed to the radio station right now. And I don't have to name that radio station that's in the mall. They're friends of mine. In fact, they're clients of Black Voters Matter. They've got a check from Black Voters Matter, and they get several checks from me. So when she stuck her foot in her mouth on that, I went to them. And I already knew, because I asked him about that. Man, how'd you get that interview with such and such? What he told me back when it happened, what the owner of that radio station told me, the general manager rather, told me is that, oh, I saw the bus out there. They were out there, and I went, sent somebody, I went out there and grabbed them and put them on the microphone. So this whole thing about they organized it or that it went under the radio station, well, that is, again, another problem, because that's not the truth. Because I already knew the answer to the question before I even asked it. You understand? You follow me, Q? What I'm saying here? She's listening, so you guys are listening as well. So that's the breakdown of actually what happened. Eyes Open News Time is 32 minutes past the hour, and I will retort this again when we get Black Voters Matter on the phone for a live interview, the 8 o'clock hour. So all that and a whole lot more coming up. We got Candy Kristoff coming back after 8 o'clock. This morning, live in the studio, the lone Democrat candidate in the race. All that and a whole lot more. Don't go away.
his neck for his brother, man. Can you dig it? Who's the cat that won't cop out when there's danger all about? Right on.
Listening to FM 107.5 The Vibe and 1110 AM KTTP, Alexandria Pineville.
Hello, everyone. I'm Tony Brown. This is your statewide news you can use on this Thursday. It's the 18th day of the month of March. News being brought to you by the Alexandria Emergency Room Hospital. We're going to start down in Baton Rouge, where a teenager died at the hospital last night after being shot. In fact, it was Monday night. After being shot while riding a vehicle near North Acadian Throwaway, the victim was identified as 17-year-old Jeremiah Lowry, a passenger in the vehicle that was traveling eastbound on Dalton Street. The shooting occurred a little after 7:30 p.m. in the 3400 block of Dalton, which is near its intersection, Throwaway. Police said Lowry was with 3 other people in the vehicle, and the other 2 were not injured in the shooting. Lowry was brought to the hospital, where he later died. The Alexandria Police Department has arrested a suspect believed to be involved in the shooting that occurred in the 600 block of Bennett Street back on March the 14th. 2 minors, ages 5 years old and 16, received non-life-threatening gunshot wounds from the incident. Alexandria Police say 18-year-old Denzel Washington, 18-year-old Denzel Washington of Marksville was charged with 2 counts of attempted first-degree murder. Anyone with information about this incident is being asked to contact the Alexandria Police Department. Alexandria Interim Police Chief Ronnie Howard said the police department is working to address several community concerns, including violent crime and the current officer shortage. Howard said officers worked 12 homicides so far this year. That's an uptick from the 2020 figures. He said one obstacle officers face trying to solve crimes is a lack of information in the community. Community participation, he said, is one of the biggest problems. He said they can join a community watch group. They can start one. Howard also pointed to the Alexandria Citizens Academy. He said through the program, citizens can become more aware of procedures that police officers do out in the field and become involved if they see anything. If they see something, say something. Another problem is the department is the numbers of officers. Howard said the current number of vacancies now sit at 42. That's 42 positions that are gone. While acknowledging the shortage, Howard said the city is not under-patrolled. Wow, how can you say that when a third of your force is missing? A Louisiana state trooper who shot an unarmed man as he fled from 2018 traffic stop on Perkins Road, partially paralyzing him, was fired Tuesday, months after she was arrested and later indicted in the shooting. Kasha Dominique received notice of her termination effective at 4:30 p.m. on Tuesday. State police said she had been on administration leave since an East Baton Rouge grand jury indicted her in October on counts of aggravated second degree and illegal use of a weapon. Before that, she was assigned to desk duty following the 2018 shooting, which left Clifton Dilly paralyzed. Dilly, then 19, was a passenger in a car whose driver had pulled over for allegedly making an illegal U-turn on Perkins Road. Records indicate conflicting accounts of the exact circumstance. A state police investigator said Dilly was charging toward Dominique when he was shot, but a federal lawsuit claims he was running away. Dominique initially reported to dispatch that she had fired her gun at Dilly rather than her service weapon, which slowed the emergency response, the lawsuit said. Her indictment, a stun gun rather than her gun. Her indictment marked an unusual outcome for law enforcement shooting cases, which often result in no criminal charges for the officer involved. If convicted of battery, Dominique faces up to 15 years in prison and a $10,000 fine. The weapon counts is punishable by up to 2 years in prison and a fine of $1,000. The kid got killed. He was shot in the back. And she's getting a battery charge? My Lord. 3 retired federal judges have taken the highly unusual step of intervening in the case of a Baton Rouge woman who claims a local prosecutor mishandled her 2016 rape case involving Angola Deputy Warden. The former judges, one as an ex-U.S. Attorney General, say a 3-judge panel of the 5th U.S. Circuit Court of Appeals made a mistake last month when it ordered the dismissal of Priscilla Lefebure's lawsuit against 20th Judicial District Attorney Sam DeQuilla. Lefebvre alleges D'Aquila failed to adequately pursue rape charges against then Angola Assistant Warden Barrett Bacher. LaFabrio's attorney last month asked the entire Fifth Circuit to rehear the case and revive the lawsuit. In a brief filed Friday in support of LaFabrio, former 9th U.S. Circuit Court of Appeals Judge Alex Kaczynski and ex-U.S. District Judge F.A. Little Jr. of Louisiana and Michael McCaskey of New York joined the call for the New Orleans-based Fifth Circuit to rehear the case. McCaskey was the nation's attorney general during the last 14 months of President George W. Bush's term. The Fifth Circuit panel in its February 9th ruling called the conduct of local law enforcement in the case sickening, but the panel said it had no authority to force D'Aquila or any district attorney to investigate or prosecute someone, and as a result had to end her lawsuit. Blogger and community activist Gary Chambers, who was removed from a 2017 Baton Rouge Metro Council meeting and arrested after trying to discuss the Alton Sterling case during a public hearing on another matter, told federal judge Wednesday he had never seen anyone ejected from the council room for expressing their views. But during the May 10, 2017 council meeting, Chambers and two other black men, former NAACP Baton Rouge chapter president Mike McClanahan and current branch president, let me correct that, not chapter, branch president Eugene Collins, were among 6 city parish residents escorted from the council chambers for doing just that. Chambers, McClanahan, and Collins filed a federal lawsuit later that year against then Mayor Pro Tem Scott Wilson and the city parish, and on Wednesday the case went before U.S. District Judge John D. Gravel for a trial without a jury. Chambers testified during the trial, held as a Zoom meeting, that he has attended Metro Council meetings since 2015 and had never seen Wilson, who was a mayor pro tem, ran council meetings, have anyone removed from the council hall for speaking off topic until that day during the 3-minute per person public comment period. He said, I've never seen anybody other than black folk put out of the council meeting, Chambers said, who is running for Congress in Saturday's election, told D. Gravel. That's District 2, not our district, District 5. McClanahan, who is now the NAACP National Board member, and Collins offered similar testimony. McClanahan said, I've never seen it happen before, who noted he has attended hundreds of council meetings. Leaders reprimanded former LSU President F. King Alexander. That's right, F. King Alexander put on probation by Oregon State over LSU sexual harassment issues. I said, really, I'm surprised that he still has his job. And, of course, students and organizations on that campus at Oregon State are calling for him to be fired. But leaders just reprimanded LSU President F. Scott King by placing him on probationary status Wednesday, the latest in a wave of discipline departures at other universities related to LSU's mishandling of sexual misconduct allegations in the past 2 years. Just more than 9 months after leaving LSU to lead Oregon's largest university, Alexander found himself fighting to keep his job amid tense scrutiny over his handling of the Title IX complaints and sexual misconduct allegations during his 6 years at Louisiana's flagship college. Though Alexander faced potentially severe discipline, including dismissal, a majority of OSU Board of Trustee members instead approved a more than 10-week-long probationary period that would see a third-party review outstanding questions related to the LSU report and glean feedback from the community, among other requirements. Officials took that action against Alexander following a lengthy hearing centered on the findings from a law firm review that described a total failure of leadership of physical and dating violence under Alexander's tenure at LSU flagship college. The Hush Blackwell investigation, named after the law firm contracted to conduct it, detailed cultural problems at LSU, in particular the Title IX programs and allegations of improper conduct throughout the university. And it is worth noting that 3 rape allegations took place under Coach Ogeron's watch, and still there's no talk of getting rid of him or any sort of probation or reprimand in the works today. There are many out there who feel that it happened under his watch and he should suffer consequences as well, and I'm definitely one of them. Speaking of football, retired Saints quarterback Drew Brees is keeping mum about whether he will continue raising his family in the Crescent City or elsewhere. He pledged Wednesday we will always have a strong presence in New Orleans. During a media call on Wednesday, Brees said his participation with the development team vying to resurrect the Six Flags site in New Orleans East is among several community initiatives he has planned in the city. The football star didn't elaborate, but he said there's about 3 other things that will slowly become public knowledge over the next week or months. And finally, LSU loosened its restrictions on pregame tailgating for spring sports, allowing limited gatherings on campus before games for the first time since the coronavirus pandemic began last March, the school announced Wednesday. LSU said fans can tailgate before number 10 LSU hosts number 6 Mississippi State in the opening Southeastern Conference baseball game Friday night at Alex Box Stadium. The school hasn't decided on tailgating policy this fall. Tailgating, a beloved tradition for LSU fans, had been banned on campus since last fall because of the virus. LSU let small family groups eat and drink near their cars. It outlawed the trapping of large parties, such as tents, trailers, tables, coolers, grills, and communal food and beverage areas. The coronavirus hasn't gone away. We're opened up on phase 3 to 50% occupancy. So the question is, will you take that chance on going to a tailgate? I know I wouldn't. I'm Tony Brown. That's your statewide news you can use on this Thursday, March the 18th. Have a good and a blessed day.
Hello, Sinla. I'm Dr. Kelvin Spears, Chief Medical Officer of Alexandria Emergency Hospital, located at 5900 Coliseum Boulevard, next to Wendy's. Our mission at Alexandria Emergency Hospital is to provide our patients, both adults and children, with the best possible healthcare experience, with short wait times and a relaxing environment. Alexandria Emergency Hospital is open 24/7, 365. We have board-certified doctors available for expert pediatric and adult care for both inpatient and ER services. We can provide outpatient services like MRI, X-ray, ultrasound, and CT scans. We have a clinical lab and on-site pharmacy and can facilitate inpatient stays through our state-of-the-art hospital rooms. For more information about our services, you can give us a call at 318-386-8110. That's
All right, we're back right here on your premier morning news magazine on this Thursday, March the 18th. It's time for What's Up for Breakfast in Rapides Parish Schools with little Caden Johnson. Hey, Caden, how you doing this morning?
Good.
What are we having for breakfast?
Chicken biscuit, fruit, and milk.
And for lunch?
Farmer Joe's glazed carrots, toast salad dressing, hair rolls, pear halves, and milk.
I'm Caden Johnson.
I'm Ken Johnson. That's your lunch menu for today. Have a blessed day. Prayer for today. Dear God, I'm glad you love me so much. I praise you for all the ways you show your love. Amen.
Amen. Thank you, Caden. You did really good. Caden wants to start praying, and he's going to have a kid's prayer. Just like we had the scripture of the day, we're going to start having the kid's prayer. Thank you, Caden. That was excellent. That's a good prayer. Let's now go to Jonathan Brazil. He's a meteorologist for the National Weather Service out of Lake Charles. Hey, how you doing, Jonathan?
Doing good.
Wasn't that a pretty good prayer Caden did?
I'm sorry?
I said, wasn't that a good prayer that Caden did? Did you hear him do a little prayer?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was awesome. Now, we prayed for some better weather, and we certainly got it yesterday after we got that deluge. We were actually lucky. I saw what happened over in Mississippi and some the other areas that got that tornadic activity. And guess what? Just as we had mentioned, or you guys had mentioned yesterday, it did bring in some cool air, because this morning we got on sweaters this morning. Let's kind of talk about this cool front.
Oh, yeah, it definitely turned cooler overnight, and it's going to be nice weather all the way through the weekend. So get out and enjoy it, and, we'll have highs in the mid-60s to, in the 60s and then low 70s on Sunday. And then lows in the upper 30s to lower 40s each night. So
it's going to be nice.
Other than the chilly breeze, it's going to be a great
pleasant
end to the week.
Yeah, and we talked about on Friday, and of course Friday we have a big event taking place here with Black Voters Matter, trying to get people mobilized. So it's an outdoor event. Social distancing will be practiced. That's from 3 until 6 p.m. right here outside of the FM 107.5 KTTP studios at 2211 North MacArthur Drive. Jonathan, I wish y'all could come up here for it, man. We got free hamburgers and hot dogs made by Cajun Dogs. So we got music by Bow Bow Bow. We got the Mobile Sensi lady's gonna be out here, Q. And so we're going to have Caden's going to be out here, my grandkids. So it's going to be kind of like a big deal as we're trying to register younger people to vote and then make them aware of the big election taking place on tomorrow. Jonathan, you have a great day, my friend.
You too.
All right. More eyes open when we come back, folks. That is, of course, What's Up for Breakfast and Lunch in Rapides Parish Schools, as well as your statewide forecast. All right, we're back. Hit that off for me. 56 minutes past the hour. Eyes Open News time. Coming up next hour, we have Rapides School Board President Bubba McCall. And we have next hour after that, Dr. Courtney Phillips. Of course, she is the Secretary of the Department of Health and Hospitals for Louisiana. In the meantime, some Benny and the Jets. Good morning.
Oh!
Eyes Open with Tony Brown on FM 107.5 The Vibe and 1110 AM KTTP Alexandria Pineville.
Hello, Sinlaw. I'm Dr. Kelvin Spears, Chief Medical Officer of Alexandria Emergency Hospital, located at 5900 Coliseum Boulevard, next to Wendy's. Our mission at Alexandria Emergency Hospital is to provide our patients, both adults and children, with the best possible healthcare experience, with short wait times and a relaxing environment. Alexandria Emergency Hospital is open 24/7, 365. We have board-certified doctors available for expert pediatric and adult care for both inpatient and ER services. We can provide outpatient services like MRI, X-ray, ultrasound, and CT scans. We have a clinical lab and on-site pharmacy and can facilitate inpatient stays through our state-of-the-art hospital rooms. For more information about our services, you can give us a call at 318-386-8110. That's 318-386-8110. Or visit us online at www.alexandriaer.com. Again, I'm Dr. Kelvin Spears. And remember, for all your emergency needs, come see us at Alexandria Emergency Hospital, your hometown ER and hospital.
COVID-19 has taken its toll on our communities in Louisiana. From loss of life to loss of income, families and businesses across our state have been seriously impacted by COVID. The Louisiana Department of Health understands this, and they're taking action to ensure all residents have equal access to the FDA-authorized vaccines. To find out when and where you can go sleeves up and get vaccinated, visit covidvaccine.la.gov or call 211.
Hi, this is Bianca Brown, the Mobile Cincy Lady. Are you looking for a dream job? Well, you need to give me a call today. I'm looking for new recruits to join my team of Cincy consultants. Join Cincy today and get your starter kit for only $99 plus shipping and tax. Benefits include additional income, flexibility, incredible friendships, world-class training, recognition, personal growth, discounts on amazing Cincy products, and the opportunity to earn fabulous incentive trips around the world like the all-expense-paid trip I earned to Cancun, Mexico. Interested in joining Cincy? Give me a call today at 318-618-1832. That's 318-618-1832. Please refer to my website, lapeacefulsense.cincy.us, for our income disclosure statement.
My name is Roy Brown. I'm the manager of Bargain Box. We have new and used furniture, appliances, mattresses, dining room sets, and different other items throughout the store. We also have clothing on consignment. We're open from 10 to 5:30 Monday through Friday and 10 to 3 on Saturday. We're on Military Highway in Trotters Plaza, and I would just love to invite y'all to come visit.
This is Eyes Open with Tony Brown on FM 107.5 The Vibe and 1110 AM KTTP Alexandria Pineville.
Eyes Open News Time, 3 minutes past the hour, 7 o'clock, top of the morning to you right here on this Thursday, March the 16th. This is Eyes Open with me, Tony Brown, on FM 107.5 The Vibe at 1110 AM KTTP. We're streaming live, as always, at Tony Brown Facebook, Tony Brown Roman number 2 Facebook, KTTP Facebook, as well as FM 107.5 Facebook. Make sure you go to the Tony Brown pages and friend me. Go to the KTTP page and the FM 107.5 page and like the page. I'd like you also this morning to go to my YouTube channel. Go to Eyes Open with Tony Brown YouTube channel and subscribe to our channel. In order for us to keep the digital broadcast on YouTube, I need 1,000 subscribers. Now, that shouldn't be a problem that I got 15,000 friends sitting out there. So if you love the show, you love what we're doing, and you'd like to see us on more formats, definitely go to the Eyes Open with Tony Brown YouTube channel and subscribe to my page. Once I get 1,000 views, we'll be able to stream that live as well. We're not streaming live on YouTube right now, but after the show, When the show is over about 9 o'clock, before Q leaves, she downloads the show and she places it on our channel. I want to be able to stream live on YouTube. So help me help you get better access to the only program in the state on a daily basis that keeps your eyes open, gives you a voice in your community, and is never afraid to talk about the issues in our community. With that said, we got the Rapides Parish School Board President, Mr. Bubba McCall. He's saying there is a problem with this new feeder school plan. I thought I was under the guise that it was getting back. Bring Shap down just a tad for me, Miss Q. I thought we were getting back to the neighborhood schools, which is something that he's been pushing for. In one aspect, it kind of is. But in the same aspect, it's robbing Peter to pay Paul. He just is quiet with me. And, of course, the board voted. They actually lost the vote. The only two people who voted against it was him, the board president, as well as Sister Franklin, also on the board. So the bottom line is it's a done deal. There's not too much we can do about it, but we can actually talk about it, and he can come on and open your eyes and find out where he see the problem is, because as he left and stormed out of that meeting on Tuesday, he said this is going to come back to haunt y'all and our children, because I know about Mr. Bubba, it's always about the babies. We had the first interview outside of Baton Rouge. That's the first radio interview outside of Baton Rouge with Dr. Courtney Phillips, Secretary of the Department of Health and Hospitals, the state's largest agency with a $14 billion budget. Yeah, I said it, Q. $14 billion. Girl, she got more money than Dr. Dre. 5 times as much money as Dr. Dre could fool with. She has to deal with on an annual basis. She is a woman, and she is a woman of color. LSU undergrad, got her degree, and got her doctorate degree from none other than Southern University. So we're glad to have her on the show as we talk about the COVID-19 pandemic and things that we can do to mitigate it, particularly in the African-American community. Plus, we have Omari Hosang, Louisiana Coordinator for Black Voters Matter, the lead. We're talking about, we got the Power Bus Tour taking place. I'm going to invite Mr. Bubba and all the school board, Sister Franklin, all the elected officials to come on out. We had to change at the last minute because she notified me yesterday that after 4 or 5 days, and initially last week, I got them in contact with Black Voters Matter, and they waited 2 days before the event to tell them they can't have the event at the mall. So Black Voters Matter is calling for a boycott of the Alexandria Mall. I can understand their frustration, and I'm going to tell you what I know, which is going to be the absolute 100% truth of what really happened. So again, I went through a man of God to contact supposedly another man of God who didn't give me the dignity or respect that I think that is due other men of God to even call me. He had somebody else call me. Wouldn't even call me, didn't return my text, so I had a problem with that. And had he did call me, they should have told me immediately, Mr. Brown, now we can't have a bus on the property unless they're attached to a governmental organization, which we could have gotten Gator or any other organization to help sponsor this to mitigate that situation. But because they didn't communicate with me directly, or anybody else until 2 days before the event, this is a problem. And then when I compared it to a bus sitting out there last year for the 5th Congressional initial race all day long, they told me, well, that bus was there because of they went through the radio station. I said, oh, really? They didn't know that before I asked questions, I already know the answer. Because I asked months ago back in December when I called my good friend, who is the general manager of that station, about an interview that I heard one of his talent doing about the candidate. He said, man, how did y'all get that interview and this whole bus thing? He said, the bus was just sitting out there. And I went and had somebody get him and put him on a microphone. So that whole notion and that whole comment or excuse, and they always say about excuses, Mr. Bubba, we all got them and they all stink. And what I say about excuses are the incompetent tools excuses are the tools that incompetent people use to build monuments of nothingness. Yeah, it's worthless. So the excuse was, one, they're not part of a governmental organization, and two, it was the radio station that brought them in. Both of which, the second one is an outright lie. The first one should have been told to me last week. Not 2 days after you go and tell them you need this policy, you need a $1 million policy, and they jump through all those hoops and go and do that. And then 2 days before the event, you tell us it hasn't been finally approved. What kind of nonsense is that? So that dog don't hunt with me. You just said what my hearing over there when you plug that thing in, woman. But that's how good. We're going to have to jiggle it a little bit. So we got all that. Hit that song off for me, Miss Q. We got all that and a whole lot more. And bottom line, you can call me up. But come clean or stay away nasty. And what that motto means, Mr. Bubba knows, that means to tell the truth. Tell the truth always. Because I'm going to try to be on the side of the truth. Because you know what? I fear God. And I'm trying to get to heaven. And I know you are too. 318-483-9977. I'm asking them all, where's the love, baby? You know, you want our green dollars, but you don't want black voters to mobilize? And I'm not blaming the local management. I think this went above them. When they see black voters, some people try to suppress the vote. I'm not saying that's what happened here. I'm not calling for a boycott. Black Voters Matter saying that's a problem. Why would they do this 2 days before the event? But that's one thing you know about Tony Brown. I always got a backup plan. You got to have a backup. Who said that? The sister? Backup key? Like the sister have a backup plan? I had a backup plan because I knew it was coming. And I already had a backup plan. So what the devil tried to do, we already had fixed within a 30 minutes to an hour. Had the new flyers, had the new commercials up, and all the radio stations came together and said, what can we do? I said, y'all come on out here and do a remote. We're going to be live out here tomorrow. We invite y'all free hot dogs and hamburgers by Cajun Dogs. We got DJ Bow 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 on the ones and twos. And this event, we're going to keep it moving. And I'm just asking, where is the love, baby? Because we got nothing but love for everybody over here. Good morning.
Got me questioning, where is the love? Where is the love? Where is the love? Where is the love?
It just ain't the same, always in change. New days are strange, is the world insane? If love and peace is so strong, why are the pieces of love that don't belong? Nations dropping bombs, chemical gases filling lungs of little ones with ongoing suffering as the youth are young. So ask yourself, is the loving really gone? So I could ask myself, really what is going wrong in this world that we living in? People keep on giving in, making wrong decisions, only visions of them dividends. Not respecting each other, denying thy brother. A war's going on, but the reason's undercover. The truth is kept secret, it's swept under the rug. If you never know truth, then you never know love. Where's the love, y'all? Come on, I don't know. Where's the truth, y'all? Come on, I don't know. Where's the love, y'all?
People killing, people dying, children hurt and living crying. When you practice what you preach and what you turn the other cheek. Father, 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 help us. Send some guidance from above. These people got me questioning, where is the love? 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 Where is the
I feel the weight of the world on my shoulder. As I'm getting older, your people get colder. Most of us only care about money making. Selfishness got us following the wrong direction. Wrong information always shown by the media. Negative images is the main criteria. Infecting the young minds faster than bacteria. Kids wanna act like what they see in the cinema. Whatever happened to the values of humanity? Whatever happened to the fairness and equality? Instead of spreading love, we're spreading animosity. Lack of understanding leading us away from unity. That's the reason why sometimes I'm feeling under. That's the reason why sometimes I'm feeling down. It's no wonder why sometimes I'm feeling under. Gotta keep my faith alive till love is found. Now ask yourself,
where is the love? Where is the love? Where is the love? Father, 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 help us. Send some guidance from above. These people got me questioning, where is the love?
sing with me, y'all.
One word, we only got one word, that's all we got. One word, there's something's wrong with it, there's something's wrong with it, something's wrong with the world, yeah. We only got one word, that's all we got. One word.
All right, we're back right here on your Premier Morning News Magazine, and you know every first and third Thursday of the month at about 7:15, we had the pleasure of having the Rapides Parish School Board update. Now it's with the president, of course. He's been a president for several months, but has been on the board for several years, and we're always glad about his insight. Now, just this past Tuesday, there was a very, very controversial school board meeting in which Mr. Bubba has been for years trying to get back to what we call away from community schools, where children being bused in some regards to different cities, from all the way from Alexandria all the way to Tioga and some places. But he wanted to get, and that's why they put it under the guise of community. Now, there's no way that Lower Third is a part of the community in Tioga. So that whole thing is a ruse and a guise, a disguise. He wants to get back to the neighborhood schools where children. Stop having children sitting at the bus stop at 5:30 in the morning in the dark when you got creepy people driving around in vans looking for a way to victimize our children. He said, that's a problem, Tony. We can't have kids standing out in the rain in the old dark 30 hours when they should be able to get up a little bit later, have a little bit more sleep, have breakfast, and walk to their school, getting back to neighborhood schools. So I thought this new plan, this feeder school plan for Bolton High School and Peabody High School was a feeder plan that would get them back to neighborhood schools, something that Mr. Bubba has been pushing for, but obviously that is not the case. So it's getting back partially to neighborhood schools, but basically it's robbing one area and giving to another, and his problem is all of these changes are only happening in predominantly inner city African American schools. Mr. Bubba, always a pleasure. Welcome back to the show. And good morning. And you stormed basically out of that meeting, and I know you probably used that finger and shook that finger and said, y'all are going to regret this. That's the quote they had in the paper just yesterday. So you have a problem with this, and am I confused? I thought this was something that you wanted.
This is something I wanted. Here's part of what I wanted, okay?
Okay.
Here's what you did. Now, I got a map here. I'm going to show it to you. We never did get the. I'm going to bring this back to the board. I have something else to look at. Acadian Pre-K through 5, Redwine Pre-K through 5, Martin Park Pre-K through 5, W. Hall Pre-K through 5. We didn't get W. Hall. Those kids, I'm going to show you this map right now. If you live down Low Third.
Right over there by Peabody.
Right over there by Peabody. You go over there here to 3rd Street.
Okay.
You got John Thomas and Linda Street, all those streets right there.
Mm-hmm.
You can walk from your house to W. Hall.
You can.
Okay? Samtown Woodside. Look at it right there. There they are right there.
Mm-hmm.
They're going to be going down my Redwine in the Sonia quarters.
They're going to a whole nother area.
And they're going to tell me it ain't but 2.5 miles. I don't know who put that map together, who did the ride. It got to be one of them who ain't got too much sense up there, okay?
That's anywhere from 5 to 10 miles.
Thank you very much. Now here, I'm going to ask them to take another look at this thing.
Okay.
Here's the plan I got. Since not Hayes, they say it floods all the time. That's Miss Burgess District. Okay?
Okay.
But I want Acadian, Amber, Redwine, Martin Park to go back to Pre-K through 5 along with W. Hall, okay?
Mm-hmm.
Now, Huddle, Maple Brasher, Rugg, Pre-K through 5. You see they closing North Bayou over there on England Drive.
They are.
Okay, go over there and take a look at the demographics and the families in that neighborhood, okay?
Okay.
Now, you're going to take a building and empty it out. Okay?
And that's a pretty decent building over there, isn't it?
They say it needs a lot of work. Every time something come up, it needs a lot of work.
They blame it on the building?
Thank you. So you can take and put Head Start people right in that school right there, okay?
You can.
Okay, Julius Patrick, if you live over here on the other side of Bolton Street, coming off of Rapides Avenue,
okay,
if you in the Pre-K through 5, Julius Patrick was not a half or 50% school. I don't know what he was getting that from before we went to this community school thing, okay? Because I walked out at that school at least every other week or every week. Checking on it.
Now, his argument, and I'm glad you mentioned that, he says that it's going to be better services, better facilities, and better pay.
Well, look at the pay.
Okay.
One-time stipend.
$1,000
for the teachers, $500 for them folks.
For the
custodian people like that. The lowest paid people getting the least money. Okay. Now you take a look at this, better paid, whatever you want to call it.
I got people calling me on this, and
here's
I incorrectly told them. I said I think they're getting back to neighborhood schools, and this is something Mr. Bubba wanted. This is what the guy said. He called me concerned. He said, "Tom, I'm kind of upset by this." And then when I explained to him, I said, "I think this is what Mr. Bubba wanted." He said, "Well, Tony, I don't know what they're doing over there, but we trust Mr. Bubba and we trust you. So if you're telling me that Mr. Bubba is okay with it, I'm going to go with that. But now, I feel unfortunate that I think I miscommunicated with the man because I didn't know that you are okay with half the plan, but the other plan you got a problem with.
Well, if you're going to take a child, they say if you live in River Bend, you know what River Bend is. That's down Low Third.
Yeah.
And you're going to send him to Alma Red Wine, okay? Mm-hmm. Talking about that's 2.9 miles. Man, come on.
That's far. That's over by Jackson Street, isn't it?
No.
Where's Alma Red Wine?
It's in the Sonia Quarter. Okay. You got to come from River Bend on 3rd Street, 1 block from Willow Glen River, 2 blocks from Willow Glen River Road.
So that's not a neighborhood school. That's miles away.
Thank you very much.
That's miles away. And then you just pointed out the other one. That's, being 5 to 10 miles away. What you were talking about blocks away. They're putting schools where children are going to have to go miles away and still be bused. So what's the difference between what they're doing right now with the community school, and this looks like this is kind of no different. It gives the impression that we're going back to neighborhood schools, but you're saying it's not.
It's not completely.
So how's this going to affect the parents and the children? Is the bottom line, Mr. Bubba?
I'm going to give you an example. If you live on John Thomas Street, John Thomas, and you have to go to Alma Red Wine to pick up your child, and you don't have a car, that city bus, it'll take you an hour to get there on that city bus because you got to change buses downtown. Okay. Okay. Now, living right here where I tell you on the Lower 3rd Street, you're going to be sending these kids.
Go ahead, Mr. Bubba.
You're going to be sending these kids all the way down the Red Wine. Okay. When you got W.O. Hall right around the corner, you're going to fill up W.O. Hall with Head Start, and you got an empty building out there called North Bayou. Okay. Okay, North Bayou, use it, okay? Mm-hmm. Now, Julius Patrick, those kids that live up here on the north side,
okay,
the only school they got is Huddle. They talking about they were being underutilized, better pay, better service. If you look at the pay thing, he said you're going to get the $1,500 stipend. They're going to try to give you that. But they will review future savings to see if you get any more money, okay?
Okay.
So, that money is not guaranteed to those people, okay? It's not guaranteed. We'll review future savings if we save anything to see if we can give you some money. See, you're not giving me a pay raise. You're giving them a stipend. A pay raise is a percentage you work on your check every time you open your check, okay?
That's true.
So don't play games. Just tell the folks we're going to be looking at it, but it ain't going to be there. Because every time you look up, just a few of them get the money, okay?
Absolutely. So this is very upsetting. You're saying that...
Well, we got another plan.
But can this be fixed is the question.
Yeah, there it is right there, okay?
Okay, and this is something that you came up with.
Man, another board member came up with it, and I'm not calling no names.
Don't call no names.
Okay?
Yeah, but you tell Mr. Spears, no. Tell him to stay there. We're going to get him in right after this.
We're going to let him come.
Yeah.
Well, look, here's what we're going to do. I'm going to go talk to the executive committee. We're going to resubmit something to stop this thing from being so bad, okay? You're going to empty buildings. You got all those Head Start centers. And another thing, they couldn't answer this. What's going to happen to all them employees, okay? Now, you cutting back on 2 major schools.
You are.
3 schools, actually, with North Bayou. Where you going to put them people?
That's a good question, of course.
But I'm gonna give them one little shot at this, okay?
Okay.
And then
but you're saying even though they had the vote and the vote approved it, Mr. Bubba, you're saying that it's not over.
For me, it ain't over.
It ain't.
For me and Ms. Franklin, it ain't over. Okay.
It ain't over. So, do you think before I let you go that parents actually need to know what's going on?
They need to know what's going on.
Because right now they don't know.
Your child gonna start getting bused. If you live down Low Third, Woodside, Samtown, they getting bused, okay?
Okay.
Because if you go to Caden Elementary District, you okay. But if you live on Low Third, where Peabody Montessori, which is a nice school that was paid for by District 62 money years ago, your child ain't going there.
Wow.
Your child, and you can walk over there to W.O. Hall. If you live in Samtown, some of them can walk, okay?
Absolutely. That's, of course, your Rapid School Board update with Mr. Bubba McCall. He is upset because one thing I know about him, it's all about the children and what's best for them and those parents. We're going to hold tight for just a second, and we got Mr. Willie Spears talking about a unique opportunity, folks. There's a unique opportunity. Y'all hold tight for just a second. We got him coming up. All that and a whole lot more. Q, let's take a short little break. More when we come back.
Rapids Primary Healthcare Center is your federally qualified community healthcare center and is located at 1217 Willow Glen River Road in Alexandria. They are now accepting new patients. Are you tired of spending long hours in hospital emergency rooms waiting to receive non-critical healthcare services? Do you need affordable medical, dental, and mental health care? Do you need quality health care for you and your baby for prenatal, during pregnancy, and up until adulthood? Do you need to sign your family up for the Affordable Care Act or Medicaid? Then look no further than Rapides Primary Health Care Center. It is the affordable, timely answer to all your family's health care needs. All services are available to anyone regardless of their ability to pay. You or your family will never be turned away. Rapides Primary is certified Kid Med site with a sliding fee scale. Payment is based on income and size of family. Medicaid, Medicare, and most commercial insurance are accepted for medical services. For appointments and information on all medical services, including Obamacare and Medicaid, call 318-487-4400. That's 318-487-4400. Rapides Primary Healthcare Center, a new beginning in quality health care and a proud impact partner of the Eyes Open Radio Network.
Did you see the riots at the Capitol? Now that was a wake-up call. Are you woke? You have got to go vote. Early voting started March the 6th and will end on the 13th. Vote Candy Kristoff, number 16. We cannot assume that our freedoms and democracy is guaranteed. It must be protected with your vote. It matters who your congressional representative is. Vote number 16, Candy Kristoff, and I approve this message.
Hello, Sinla. I'm Dr. Kelvin Spears, Chief Medical Officer of Alexandria Emergency Hospital, located at 5900 Coliseum Boulevard, next to Wendy's. Our mission at Alexandria Emergency Hospital is to provide our patients, both adults and children, with the best possible healthcare experience, with short wait times and a relaxing environment. Alexandria Emergency Hospital is open 24/7, 365. We have board-certified doctors available for expert pediatric and adult care for both inpatient and ER services. We can provide outpatient services like MRI, X-ray, ultrasound, and CT scans. We have a clinical lab and on-site pharmacy and can facilitate inpatient stays through our state-of-the-art hospital rooms. For more information about our services, you can give us a call at 318-386-8110. That's 318-386-8110. Or visit us online at www.alexandriaer.com. Again, I'm Dr. Kelvin Spears. And remember, for all your emergency needs, come see us at Alexandria Emergency Hospital, your hometown ER and hospital.
All across Louisiana.
More and more residents are able to get the FDA-authorized vaccines for COVID-19.
With over 1 million doses given daily,
the vaccines have proven to be safe and effective.
So, if you're ready to see live music again,
have Sunday dinner at Grandma's again,
and just get life back to normal again,
join the rest of Louisiana and go sleeves up to help end the pandemic.
Get the facts at covidvaccine.la.gov or call 211.
All right, we're back right here on your premier morning news magazine. I want to talk to you about a unique opportunity that's taking place. It's a grant program. First of all, I want to introduce, and no stranger to Eyes Open, Mr. Willie Spears, currently serving in the capacity of Executive Director of the GATOR. That's the Greater Alexandria Economic Development Authority Revitalization Corporation. He's responsible for implementing an affordable housing strategy that focuses on revitalizing the inner city neighborhood of Alexandria, Louisiana. The multifaceted strategy includes developing various housing programs to address the needs of low-income homeowners and renters. Prior to accepting the executive director position of the GATOR Revitalization Corporation, Mr. Spears retired from a 35-year banking career as executive vice president of the largest bank in the state of Louisiana. His titles included retail banking manager, CRA officer, and president of the bank's Community Development Corporation. He managed a variety of federal and state-funded community development projects involved in affordable housing, owner-occupied rehabilitation, new construction, single-family home ownership, and single-family and multi-family rental. Mr. Spears is a graduate, y'all, of the GSU, Grambling State Tigers, and, of course, the LSU School of Banking, and, of course, has accomplishments so many. And he also served as president of the Hibernia Community Development Corporation, transforming it into one of the most productive CDCs in Louisiana and earning one of the highest BEA awards issued by the U.S. Treasury Department to a Louisiana-based bank. Mr. Spears leveraged millions in CDBG grants, home funds, federal home loan bank grants, and private investments to the projects financially feasible. He and his wife, Margaret Hall Spears, live in Pineville. They have an adult son and daughter and 2 granddaughters. And in his capacity of one of these, I remember he called me up several years ago, and I saw him fly a check down to Usher Raymond. Let's bring his mic up, Q. To Usher Raymond right after Hurricane Katrina. He called me up. It was like the day before my birthday and said, Tony, I saw, what you've been doing on your show to help victims of Hurricane Katrina. Many of the evacuees that came up here had no resources, no money, no food, no access to banks. And we just opened up the microphone and was able to raise about $10,000 to $15,000 that we handed out to them personally and through the donations of you, my loyal listeners. So I know when this man speaks, he is talking all about the betterment of the community. And when he speaks in a room, he don't say much. He listens a lot, but when he speaks, people listen, and I'm telling you about powerful people who can make things happen, and we're just blessed to have him in the studio and in our community, he and his wife, because he is giving back in a big way. Mr. Spears, always a pleasure, my friend. I always admire what you do. I see you as a mentor of mine, and just keep doing what you're doing. So when you could be sitting down on the golf course, getting ready for some go on the greens, putting on your shoes, you are still working like you have never stopped working when you retired.
Thank you, Tony. Thank you for having me this morning. I'm just delighted to be here to share some information about a program that is designed to help senior homeowners.
Okay.
And just to give you a brief overview of the program, it's through the Federal Home Loan Bank of Dallas, and it's was made possible by Red River Bank. A lot of folk always ask me, well, what about the Federal Home Loan Bank of Dallas? Can I get an account there? No, it's a banker's bank. It provides bank services and products for other banks. Each year, they allocate 10% of their earnings toward programs such as the one I'm discussing today.
Okay. Now, I see initially the two organizations received $1.3 million. How much of that money is actually going to be utilized here in this community?
I wish I could say we received all of it, Tony.
Man, that would have been a blessing. But getting any money right now is a blessing.
Unfortunately, we received, I guess fortunately, we received $495,000. And to put everything in perspective, the Federal Home Loan Bank services a 5-state area. So we were in competition with organizations from 5 states. So we were indeed fortunate to get our application approved.
Okay. Now, how many homes are we talking about being able to rehabilitate in the community? And then I want you to go into the criteria of what people must have in place in order to at least submit an application for this program.
Our goal is to rehabilitate 50 homes for low-income seniors. And let me just say, we just completed last year a similar grant. It was for $350,000. We rehabilitated 50 homes for low-income seniors. And just to throw out a few statistics, because I know you're a stats man.
I am.
Yeah. The average age of a recipient was 68 years old. They were primarily single-family female household. And also the average income was about $12,000. So you can see the need is really there.
Yeah. What is the current housing situation with that age demographic right here in Central Louisiana? Because, often when they hear about these programs, people have a problem of accessing the information and then, trying to contact the right people.
I would say the need for affordable housing really outpaces the resources that are available, and that's on the rental side as well as on the home ownership side. What we have seen with the people that we've been servicing, the seniors, a lot of them own their homes outright. They don't have mortgages or have very few mortgages. Unfortunately, since they are on fixed income, there's not a lot of flexibility in the budget which will allow them to stash away a few dollars for home repairs. So we come in with this program, and some of the repair, the major repair that we have been able to fund is to replace a roof on the house. And in my opinion, when I talk about home repairs, it's more than just home repair. It's about the family. It's about the people under the roof. And it's also about health care, because if you have a leaky roof, and the water is going to go in the house and produce mold and spores throughout the house. So it's going to be a health hazard for the people living in that home.
Now, there are some requirements that you submitted to me, and I definitely want people. That looks like there's an age requirement. They have to, they have to live in a certain area. They must own their home. What are some of those other requirements?
Yeah, it's a very simple loan. You have to be 55 years old or older. As I said, the last grant that we completed, the average age was 68 years old. You must live in your home and be able to provide proof of ownership. You must occupy your home and provide proof of occupancy. This particular grant is for folk living in a USDA rural development district. So that includes places like LeCount, Boyce, Cheneyville, Bunkie, all of those places.
Glenmora.
As long as you're in Rapides Parish.
Okay.
Right.
So Glenmora includes Forest Hill.
Yes. And you must have a you must meet a federal income guideline. I don't have all that information with me, but just let me throw out one number. If you're a single person household, then your income cannot exceed $20,400 a year.
So 55 and older, they must live in Rapides Parish. They must meet the income criteria. Will they have to match any of their own resources?
No, I'm glad you asked that question, Tony, because I get that question a lot. There's no matching requirement. In fact, some folks are, well, you're going to put a mortgage on the house. This is not a loan. There's no mortgage on your house.
You don't have to pay nothing back.
Don't have to pay anything back. There's no deed restriction. Once the house is repaired, it's yours just like you owned it before the repairs were made. No encumbrances whatsoever.
Now, a lot of us, and certainly elders, and I've seen my grandmother, they get taken advantage of by contractors. Now, you're talking about, are you talking about putting the money in the hands of the people who qualify? Or are you talking about managing that this grant will be managed by someone outside of that, specifically you, making sure you get reputable contractors, because we know there's always a problem with people taking advantage of seniors, Mr. Spears?
Well, Tony, that's another good question.
Thank you, sir.
And I've heard those horror stories myself.
Me too.
And in order to try to avoid those horror stories, since this is a small grant, the average grant would be around $8,500. Some may go up to $10,000.
Oh, wow.
I tell the contractors up front that we will not pay you until after the job is satisfactorily completed and agreed upon by the homeowner as well as myself.
Okay, so you'll go out and inspect, and that's one thing I know about you. You know what to look for.
We inspect. We inspect. We're inspecting for quality workmanship as well as quality material.
Now, how do you pick the contractors? Is that something that you have to put out as an RFP? Are there certain restrictions with the grant of who you can get to do the work?
Tony, you're on a roll this morning.
Man, that's what I do. That's what I do, Mr.
Spears. Another excellent question.
Thank you.
And I'm sure you expected this. But because of the size of the contracts and because of the recent Hurricane Katrina. I'm still in New Orleans.
Yeah, you're still in New Orleans. That's okay, brother.
Hurricane Delta and Hurricane Laura.
Well, we had 4 or 5 of them last year, and then we had the big freeze, pipes burst, all kind of stuff happening.
It's hard to get contractors to do small jobs right now.
Yes, you can't even get a plumber in town right now.
If you're a small contractor out there and you're hearing this, give me a call. Let me give you my number. It's 44.
Let's write this down, Miss Q.
445-4513. 445-4513. You give me a call. The qualification is not as difficult as you may think because of the size of the contract.
And if they did, we're gonna put the number. Here you go, Miss Q. I got something to write it on. Write the number on here, and I'm gonna have her posted on Facebook. And if you didn't get the number, I'm gonna put it out there. Repeat it one more time for me, Mr. Spears.
That's 445-4513.
445-4513. And if you don't get that, you can always contact him at the Gator office.
That's correct.
Yeah. So you can contact him at the Great Alexander Economic Development Authority. This is an important program. I think it's a unique opportunity. Anytime there is a bank out there that is partnered with, of course, this governmental entity, certainly like GATA, which is all about economic development and helping the community, I think it's a blessing. And I want people to, there's going to be more people that's going to be calling on this. There's not going to be enough money. Are we hoping that, because you're going to go through this program, and I know it's going to be 100%, but what I want to ask you is there an opportunity to continue to do this on an annual basis?
There is an opportunity to continue to do this on an annual basis. It depends on how quickly we are able to complete this contract. As I told you, the one that we completed last year was a $350,000. It looks like the trend is going in the right direction because this one is almost $500,000. Hopefully, the next time, the max amount as we speak today that I could have gotten was $750,000, but I had to play with the numbers in order to have a competitive application.
Absolutely. So he knows how to write the grant in order that we get something instead of getting it kicked out because he asking for too much. So he know we got the right man in the right place at the right time. That's my good friend, of course, Mr. Willie Spears. He's the executive director for the revitalization program, getting part of this $1.3 million to renovate homes and build apartments, thanks to the help of Red River Bank and the Federal Home Loan Bank of Dallas, Texas. Mr. Spears, always a pleasure. I'm going to bring him back. If week after next, I want him to come back because I want to sit down for more than just 15 minutes with you and spend about half an hour so we can take calls and do that. Would you do that for us, sir?
I would be delighted to do that, Tony, because there's so much to talk about, and especially with affordable housing. It is not just a problem for Central Louisiana or a problem for Louisiana.
Absolutely.
It is a national problem. And let me just throw out this statistic for you. When the federal government takes a look at a person rental, if you're paying over 30% of your income in rent, then you are a rent, what they call rent charged above what the federal government limits are.
Okay.
And the last report that I saw is people in Central Louisiana are paying as high as 45% of their income in rent. Absolutely.
Oh my God. What does that leave for food and other stuff that you need? That's a good question, and definitely we're going to bring him back week after next. Again, folks, we're going to be putting out the number on our Facebooks. I want to thank you for stopping by, Mr. Spears. God bless you, and y'all keep up the good work.
Can I throw out just an appreciation for GATA?
Oh, absolutely.
Because GATA and Clifford Motor created this organization.
Mr. Motor.
And he wanted to create something that would be sustainable into the future and help folk at the same time. So if you replace a roof with 30-year shingles, that's something that's going to be sustainable over a long period of time.
Absolutely. That's Mr. Willie Spears, again, talking about this big opportunity and this collaboration between Red River Bank, the Federal Home Loan Bank of Dallas, and, of course, the Great Alexandria Economic Development Authority. We're going to have more eyes open. Thank you, sir. More eyes open when we come back. Don't go away. Rapides Primary Healthcare Center is your federally qualified community healthcare center and is located at 1217 Willow Glen River Road in Alexandria. They are now accepting new patients. Are you tired of spending long hours in hospital emergency rooms waiting to receive non-critical healthcare services? Do you need affordable medical, dental, and mental health care? Do you need quality health care for you and your baby for prenatal, during pregnancy, and up until adulthood? Do you need to sign your family up for the Affordable Care Act or Medicaid? Then look no further than Rapides Primary Healthcare Center.
It is the affordable, timely answer to all your family's healthcare needs. All services are available to anyone regardless of their ability to pay. You or your family will never be turned away. Rapides Primary is certified kid med site with a sliding fee scale. Payment is based on income and size of family. Medicaid, Medicare, and most commercial insurance are accepted for medical services. For appointments and information on all medical services, including Obamacare and Medicaid, call 318-487-4400. That's 318-487-4400. Rapides Primary Healthcare Center, a new beginning in quality healthcare and a proud impact partner of the Eyes Open Radio Network.
Hi, this is Bianca Brown, the Mobile Cincy Lady. Are you looking for a dream job? Well, you need to give me a call today. I'm looking for new recruits to join my team of Cincy consultants. Join Cincy today and get your starter kit for only $99 plus shipping and tax. Benefits include additional income, flexibility, incredible friendships, world-class training, recognition, personal growth, discounts on amazing Cincy products, and the opportunity to earn fabulous incentive trips around the world like the all-expense-paid trip I earned to Cancun, Mexico. Interested in joining Cincy? Give me a call today at 318-618-1832. That's 318-618-1832. Please refer to my website, lapeacefulsense.cincy.us, for our income disclosure statement.
Hello, Sinla. I'm Dr. Kelvin Spears, Chief Medical Officer of Alexandria Emergency Hospital, located at 5900 Coliseum Boulevard, next to Wendy's. Our mission at Alexandria Emergency Hospital is to provide our patients, both adults and children, with the best possible healthcare experience, with short wait times and a relaxing environment. Alexandria Emergency Hospital is open 24/7, 365. We have board-certified doctors available for expert pediatric and adult care for both inpatient and ER services. We can provide outpatient services like MRI, X-ray, ultrasound, and CT scans. We have a clinical lab and on-site pharmacy and can facilitate inpatient stays through our state-of-the-art hospital rooms. For more information about our services, you can give us a call at 318-386-8110. That's 318-386-8110. Or visit us online at www.alexandriaer.com. Again, I'm Dr. Kelvin Spears. And remember, for all your emergency needs, come see us at Alexandria Emergency Hospital, your hometown ER and hospital.
Have you checked your bank account or mailbox lately? Remember, only Democrats voted yes to approve your $1,400 stimulus check. It really does matter who your next congressional representative is. Vote for me, number 16, Candy Kristoff, because a vote for me is a vote for you. And I approve this message.
All right, we're back right here on your premier morning news magazine. Tell you what, folks, we are certainly glad, and we have been working on this interview for quite a while. This is Eyes Open with me, Tony Brown, and of course, we are streaming live, as we do always, on all of our Facebook page, Tony Brown Romer number 2, our KTTP page, as well as FM 107.5. You can also check us out on Twitter. We're streaming there at Eyes Open T Brown, and we're also streaming after the show. You can hear the show in its entirety, see it digitally on our YouTube channel at Eyes Open with Tony Brown. I'm glad to have with us this morning via phone from the state's capital of Baton Rouge, Dr. Courtney Phillips, Secretary of the Department of Health and Hospitals, the state's largest agency with a $14 billion budget. This is her first radio interview outside of Baton Rouge. We are proud of her and to have her on Eyes Open Radio this morning. Doc, pleasure to have you here, Dr. Phillips. God bless you, and thank you for giving us an opportunity to talk about what's going on, certainly as it pertains to this pandemic.
Thank you for having me, Mr. Brown. I think it's important that we do push out the message across the state, so I appreciate what you all are doing.
Nationally, and I know you're very familiar with this, there's been a problem with access, particularly in the marginalized communities, the most devastated communities like ours, in the African American community. Nationally, I think I saw that the COVID-19 vaccine has been administered to about 60% of the Caucasian population. We're looking at about around 10% of the Latino population, and a week or two ago, it was less than 6% of the African American population. How do those national numbers compare? Because I know we're doing a bit fairer here because we get Dr. David Holcomb on at least 3 times a week. So I know, although we make up 33% of the population here in Louisiana, our numbers are far better because we have a great governor who, of course, followed strict guidelines, and because of your department doing everything to try to make sure that the people have access to the vaccine, and certainly that there's a better effort. If the people can't get to the vaccine, we can get the vaccine to the people. So how do the national numbers compare to what we're doing in here when you're looking at the data?
Yes, sir. We do fare a little bit better, but we still have some work to do. So when we look at our population in terms of African Americans in Louisiana, we make up about 33% of the population. And right now, when we look at the vaccinations that have gone into arms, 25% of that has gone into the arms of our Black residents here in Louisiana. So we're doing much better than the national average, but we still have work to do, and we won't be satisfied until we get there. You mentioned Dr. Holcomb, our regional medical director, but it's going to take partners across the state coming together to make this happen. And you alluded to some of that in terms of making sure we get out into communities, making sure that we have accessible sites. So even if there's not a healthcare provider that's available in that particular location, how do we make sure we partner with a community center, a church, a location to do a pop-up site to make sure vaccines are available in the community? So we have done better, but we still have work to do, and we want to make sure that no one's left behind. As you've mentioned, COVID-19 really has impacted the African American community more than any other community. So it really is important that we get information and access to the vaccines to that community.
Let me ask you this. We talked about the issue of hesitancy. We've talked about, some reasons maybe why African Americans are hesitant to trust certainly the government when you have the past historic, and you put that into context with the eugenics movement. We can talk about the Tuskegee experiment where they let basically black men die of syphilis for 40 years when they had a quick shot like penicillin for it. We can talk about during Reconstruction when, black slaves are even utilized as lab rats, basically. When you take a look at all of that, is there legitimate reasons of why some African Americans are very hesitant to trust the government to say, come on down over here and we can put this shot in your arm?
Absolutely, and I think you just laid it out. It's an earned mistrust, and it is very earned. And it's not just historical, but it's sometimes the treatment received in the healthcare system today. And so, again, it is an earned mistrust, but I think we have the onus on us to make sure we provide information, the scientific data and facts around the COVID vaccine, so individuals can make an informed decision. And I think the more and more we do that, then individuals will make that informed decision to protect themselves and their families. I think understanding and explaining the process, understanding and explaining the 3 vaccines, and really sitting down with folks to have one-on-one conversations when needed, to answer their questions, to hear their concerns, and to address those. You have some individuals who, once CDC and FDA approved it, said, yes, I'm ready to go. You have others that say, I need a little bit more information, and there's absolutely nothing wrong with that.
Mm-hmm.
We have to be able to provide them that information. And I think, what you're going to hear this week, probably in the governor's press conference, the governor has been very committed to this work, as you shared earlier, in terms of making sure that we have vaccine in the community and doing those educational outreach of really getting into communities, getting into barbershops, getting into beauty shops, getting into churches, getting to where individuals are to be able to hear their concerns and address them. That is going to be important to really looking at the hesitancy. So I think you have some folks who say, no, I don't want to get it. You have others who say, a larger portion, that I want to wait and see. I have more questions. I want to know someone that I know who's received it, and I want to hear what was their experience. And so we have to make sure that we are sharing our experiences individually, not just the state government, not just community organizations that the Department of Health is going to be partnering with, but also individuals. As you receive your vaccine, you have to talk to your family and friends and share your experience. What happened after you received it? What symptoms or side effects did you have? And once they start to hear that and hear that from those that they trust, that is going to begin to increase the amount of vaccines that we see in our communities.
Absolutely. In fact, I tried to do my part, and I actually went live, with, of course, the permission of our local medical officials to try to get my listeners, hey, I'm okay. I got the shot. I got both of my shots, and I'm good with that. But let me ask you this. Do you think there are more black people who want the vaccine but have none or limited access than those who are just afraid of it?
I think we have to look at it in both realms. I don't think we should focus on in terms of lack of access and lack of hesitancy or the no to it.
Mhm.
We really need to look at it combined and look at how do we address both of those issues, because both of those have to work in parallel. We have to make sure that as we're providing information, providing the scientific and data facts that go with it, we also make sure that they have an access point to receive the vaccine. We also have to make sure any barriers that exist, even if there's a site in that community, is it the online system to do a registration? Is it transportation? What are all of the barriers that we need to overcome to make sure someone has access? And so access is not just the site, but I think the broader picture of it. And so I think we really do need to address the hesitancy with the information as well as accessibility.
Absolutely. When you take a look at this, the mind-boggling numbers nationally, 29.5 million cases in this country, 537,000 deaths, more human casualties than World War I, World War II, and Vietnam put together. And then you take a look at the disproportionality of the high rate of COVID-19 cases in the state of Louisiana. In Louisiana, you got your undergraduate degree from LSU, you got your doctorate degree from Southern, so you know that we are a food culture. We love to pass a good time, Shad, like we say, laissez bon temps rouler. But living in a state where the food is good but bad for you, and having that kind of culture of alcohol at the same time, we have a weight problem. When we have 3 out of 4 African American women who are either overweight or obese, and it's not just African American women, but we have a high rate of obesity, not only with that, but with our children, with everyone in the state. How do we mitigate living in a state where good food, passing a good time, and drinking is part of our DNA?
Definitely a contributing factor, as you are very well aware. So when we look at our numbers today here in Louisiana, as of yesterday, we had 439,002 cases in terms of individuals who have tested positive for coronavirus here in our state since the start.
Mm-hmm.
Unfortunately, we've lost almost 10,000 lives in our state.
Jeez.
To be exact, 9,955 of our friends, family members, colleagues that we have lost to this virus.
Oh,
and as you said, in a very short time period.
Mm-hmm.
A very short time period. 9,955 loved ones lost.
Wow.
And our culture does contribute to that. But I think it's so important for us to recognize that. That's why the governor last week expanded our eligibility to include more individuals 16 and above that meet those underlying conditions because of what we see here in Louisiana. Also, it's important that we recognize that in looking at our vaccine availability, making sure that we utilize the tools that are available to us. Continue to practice the mitigation efforts because we are at risk. And now we have additional tools to help combat that. And we really have to take advantage of that.
Absolutely. Now, 17 states in this country, as we speak today, Doc, are showing a 10% increase in the rates. When you and I live in a state that is sandwiched between Texas and Mississippi, who have both released 100%. They think they're back to normal, but they've opened up their states 100%. That's a problem for me living inside here. I remember when it initially hit, Texas cut their border off from us. They put up roadblocks. They had state police, coming in, the whole situation. So how do you feel about being sandwiched in between two states who are 100% open now?
I think we're going to focus on what we do here in Louisiana. We're going to continue to push the vaccine efficacy, try to get people vaccinated as quickly as possible as our federal partners continue to increase our supply. We're going to push our mitigation efforts of masking because we know they work, making sure we practice distancing and hand washing, following the same mitigation efforts that we have seen work over and over here in Louisiana, and really just doubling down on that and adding the vaccine to our toolkit. We have to make sure we focus on Louisiana and do what we need to do to be safe here.
Amen. Vaccine trials in pregnant women are currently taking place. How hopeful is it that we've had the first case of a baby being born with the antibodies after the pregnant mother got the vaccine?
I think there's been a lot of conversation, and some of the hesitancy and questions that we receive from members in the community is around infertility. The American Academy of OBGYNs have said that they don't see anything in the vaccine or anything in the studies that would have them to have a woman say no to the vaccine. So they are encouraging individuals to receive that vaccine. I think the additional focus studies will help in terms of that hesitancy in providing additional information. But we know that there have been several women that have gone through the trials and still today who are getting vaccinated, who are pregnant, and who are having healthy deliveries. And so really wanting to make sure that we push that information. And again, providing the scientific facts. I think that's what's important to make sure we continue to push out of here's what the data shows. And again, as we continue to move forward in this plan, you will see more and more data become available. And I think that will help our community as well.
Let's talk about demystifying vaccines. How does that work? Because, you know, already we have people, certainly older people in our community who may not have access to the internet. A lot of these vaccine sites, whether it's at a church or in the communities, because we have one at Main Street Community Center, we have one at the Bolton Avenue Community Center, we have a big deal taking place at Zion Hill Church where they have 500 doses that they're going to be administering tomorrow. So exactly what you said is happening all over the community. The community is coming together, certainly in the African American community, to make sure that if the mountain doesn't go to Muhammad, that Muhammad goes to the mountain. I mean, the vaccine going to the people. That's happening.
Yes,
so when we got these three different variants, you got the Johnson and Johnson, you got the Pfizer. Then there's problems with, alleged or perceived problems in Europe where they actually stopped administering the AstraZeneca. How do we muddle through all of that? The technology, the three different versions, and then the variants that are coming out. That's a lot for for me as a journalist to consume, let alone Big Mama who living over there off of Lower Third.
It is a lot of information, and I think that's why it's important that we look at who are our trusted community partners, our healthcare providers. This is their expertise, and so tapping into them to understand that they are dissecting this information or willing to have these conversations with community members. As you said, we now have 3 approved vaccines here in the U.S. We have the Pfizer vaccine, Moderna, as well as Johnson & Johnson. Pfizer and Moderna are both 2-dose vaccines. Johnson & Johnson, the most recent approval, is a 1-dose. The effectiveness that we have seen across those 3 vaccines in terms of severe hospitalization and death are really close to 100%. And so the efficacy around those are really important to really focus on that. There's been a lot of questions in terms of the difference between Moderna, Pfizer, efficacy, and Johnson & Johnson. And I think that's probably a lot of what you've heard in many of our community members of what is the difference? Is one of them a lesser vaccine or not? Each one of these vaccines or the efficacy and the effectiveness around it is very important to talk about. When Johnson & Johnson did their trials, they were much later in the stage. And as you just mentioned, in terms of the variants were in play when they were doing the trials. Variants were not in play in terms of Moderna and Pfizer. And so the efficacy that you see around Johnson & Johnson did factor that in because they had individuals and looking at locations that the variants were present. So it's really not an apples-to-apples comparison when you look at Moderna and Pfizer and Johnson & Johnson. What's important for people to take away is that each 3 of these vaccines protect against death and severe hospitalization. And that's where we are right now in terms of fighting COVID-19, that protection level. And so making sure that when you have access to one of the 3, we are encouraging individuals to talk to their healthcare providers and to make that informed decision based on the information that they are hearing from trusted sources.
Along with that, I see there is a very great effort by your department to get, by your agency to get information out, certainly into the African American community. I'm glad that we're now running those advertisements. How much money are you guys going to spend? And you don't have to answer this, but how much effort from your department are you guys putting out there to make sure that people have this information and that to calm their fears, so to speak, that it's okay to get this. And I heard one guy say, getting the vaccine, he was telling this to his parishioners, to the people in his church, if you get the vaccine, you may cough. You don't get the vaccine, you might be in a coffin. I like the way that he put that.
Mm-hmm. No, and that's great. And community partners sharing that message. And so, again, it's not just a state effort, a state government effort. It's going to take all of us, the nonprofits, our faith-based organizations, our private sector coming together and helping to share this message. And that's what we've been working on. Today we're going to, the governor's going to do an announcement in terms of that outreach and grassroots program, and really talking about how do we make sure we're getting into every nook and cranny in our state, making sure that we're pushing messaging, not just on mainstream, but as you just mentioned, going into communities, having those direct conversations. And I think that will be successful here in our state, almost looking at it as a grassroots campaign, doing the door knocking, getting into the churches, as I mentioned, into barbershops and beauty shops, making sure that we have those direct conversations and tapping into those sources that are already in the community. And you'll see that we have lined up numerous partners across the state who said, yes, we want to be a part of this, we want to help, and we want to do what we need to do, joining forces to make this work for Louisiana as a whole. We want to push Louisiana forward, so let us know what you need us to do. And that's banding together, getting into the communities, and sharing this information.
Dr. Courtney Phillips, Secretary of the Department of Health and Hospitals for the state of Louisiana. Thank you, my friend. I enjoyed my conversation with you. I'm sure my listeners enjoyed getting that information straight from the source. And I look forward to having you back again, man. We really appreciate you taking the opportunity. And I'm just honored with the fact, knowing that this is the first radio interview you've done outside of Baton Rouge.
Thank you, sir, and I appreciate the invite and the work that you're doing in the community to make sure that the word is getting spread and that we can do all that we can to make sure our folks in Louisiana have a chance to get vaccinated and that we have a fighting chance against COVID-19.
And I hope to get you back on, hopefully within a matter of a couple of weeks, because while we're going through this, I would love to have you on a minimum once a month, just so we can talk, have a conversation, and, of course, we can get the accurate information right from the source.
All right. Looking forward to more conversation, sir.
Yes, ma'am. You take care, Doc. Have a blessed day.
Thank you, sir. Take care. Bye-bye.
All right. That's, of course, Dr. Courtney Phillips, Secretary of the Department of Health and Hospitals. We're going to have more eyes open when we come back, folks. Don't go away.
Edwards, City News Manager for the Drum newspaper in Ponchatoula and Baton Rouge. My job is to make sure your stories get told. I make sure you know what's happening in your community. Whether that's exciting, informative, or just entertainment, your news matters at the Drum. But we can't do it all alone, and no one knows the community better than you. That's why I'm asking you to share your stories with me. At the Drum, we believe a community that is informed is a strong one. So if you've got important news, witty insight, upcoming events, or even a wedding announcement, call me at 225-927-3717 or email me news to news@thedrumnewspaper.info. Follow us on Facebook and Twitter today as we report your news.
Bossman at Showtime Home Furniture says it's time to double your money. All month long, pay 1 week, get a week free. 2 weeks, 2 weeks free. Pay 1 month and get a month free. Showtime Furniture, located at MacArthur and Lee, is also continuing to save you money on all furniture and appliances with up to 6 months, same as cash. A take-home today layaway with the same as cash price for up to 6 months. Showtime Furniture allows you to rent to own at no charge. Free service, free delivery, no credit check, no long-term obligation. Huge early payout options with weekly, bi-weekly, and monthly payment plans. Double your money with 6 months, same as cash, all month long at Showtime Furniture in Alexandria. Like Bossman says, let them have it.
Hello, Sinla. I'm Dr. Kelvin Spears, Chief Medical Officer of Alexandria Emergency Hospital, located at 5900 Coliseum Boulevard, next to Wendy's. Our mission at Alexandria Emergency Hospital is to provide our patients, both adults and children, with the best possible healthcare experience, with short wait times and a relaxing environment. Alexandria Emergency Hospital is open 24/7, 365. We have board-certified doctors available for expert pediatric and adult care for both inpatient and ER services. We can provide outpatient services like MRI, X-ray, ultrasound, and CT scans. We have a clinical lab and on-site pharmacy and can facilitate inpatient stays through our state-of-the-art hospital rooms. For more information about our services, you can give us a call at 318-386-8110. That's 318-386-8110. 888-8110. Or visit us online at www.alexandriaer.com. Again, I'm Dr. Kelvin Spears. And remember, for all your emergency needs, come see us at Alexandria Emergency Hospital, your hometown ER and hospital.
While many residents in Louisiana are now able to receive one of the COVID vaccines, there are some of you who have concerns, like if they're safe or have side effects. The Louisiana Department of Health understands this, and it's why they created the covidvaccine.la.gov website. They want total transparency when it comes to providing the facts about the COVID-19 vaccines to all residents. If you have questions or concerns about the vaccines, get the facts at covidvaccine.la.gov or call 211.
My name is Roy Brown. I'm the manager of the Bargain Box. We have new and used furniture, appliances, mattresses, dining room sets, and different other items throughout the store. We also have clothing on consignment. We're open from 10 to 5:30 Monday through Friday and 10 to 3 on Saturday. We're on Military Highway in Trotters Plaza, and I would just love to invite y'all to come visit.
Did you see the riots at the Capitol? Now that was a wake-up call. Are you woke? You have got to go vote. Early voting started March the 6th and will end on the 13th. Vote Candy Kristoff, number 16. We cannot assume that our freedoms and democracy is guaranteed. It must be protected with your vote. It matters who your congressional representative is. Vote number 16, Candy Kristoff, and I approve this message.
All right, we're back right here in your Premier Morning News Magazine, and of course, you know, all week long we have been promoting, this big, huge bus tour that's being put on by Black Voters Matter. I'm glad to have Omari Hosang, a Louisiana coordinator for Black Voters Matter, to lead on the We Got Power Tour with a bus stop right here in Alexandria, right outside the FM 107.5 KTTP studios at 2211 North MacArthur Drive. We're inviting everybody to come on out tomorrow, folks. Come on out tomorrow from 3 to 6 p.m. We got DJ Bow Bow Bow, put it down on the ones and twos. We got Cajun Cajun Dogs. Cajun Dogs Barbecue with hamburgers and hot dogs, absolutely free. Social distancing will be practiced. Masks are required. So it's going to be a huge event, and the sole purpose of this is to mobilize black voters, because the black vote is black power. What happened was, 2 days before the event, the Alexandria Mall contacted Black Voters Matter and told them they could not have the event there. Now, I'm going to tell you what I know before I go to Sister Omari Hosang, the coordinator. We contacted them last week. I thought about the mall. A friend of mine put me in as the lead person. He told Black Voters Matter, this is the guy you want. And I'm honored by that, because they were right. And he was right. In any event, I went and I called the mall manager through his minister, who I know very well, Pastor Henry Williams, and the mall manager, Mitch Daniels, who was a good man. I've had a relationship with him. I remember when Pastor Henry Williams had a relationship, a restaurant, we were helping marketing that. So I was helping his business, he was helping mine. So I called Pastor for the phone number, and in fact on twice because I lost the number, and then I reached out to his personal cell phone, Mitch Daniels. What really was disappointing to me was that I didn't get a call back. I didn't get the text back. He had someone in his office contact me. So I thought that was very, very unusual. But you know what? I brushed it off. I'm not ego tripping. I was trying, as a man of God, trying to contact another man of God. So when we contacted them last week, they required a $1 million liability policy. They wanted at least 7 bodies on the policy. All of this paperwork was getting done. In fact, the Black Voters Matter got the policy, met every requirement. To me, it felt almost like obstacles that they were having to jump through hoops to have this event. And then what happened on the final hour, 2 days before the event, the woman who contacted me contacted Black Voters Matter, or who I contacted them and told them they would not be able to have the event. Now, I talked to her yesterday morning. She said, Tony, we haven't gotten final approval. So my question was, why haven't we gotten final approval when you are making them jump through hoops, getting them $1 million liability policy, and then when Omari contacts me yesterday, the girl from the mall did, the assistant of Mr. Mitch Daniels didn't call me back. She said they're not going to let us have the event. So I called Missy back because she was my contact, not Mitch, because he never called me back as a man of God. He never gave me that respect that I gave him of reaching out to him to see if what is the requirement, what we needed to do. She told me the excuse was the excuse. And y'all know what I talk about excuses. We all got them and they all stink. And the excuses are the tools that incompetent people use to build monuments of nothingness. So the excuse was, you have to be a part of a governmental organization to park a bus on the mall. So with that said, I say, wait a minute. Last year, I remember for the original 5th Congressional District race, you had a brother who was out there. He was a political candidate. So that means, first of all, he was partisan. He was a Democrat, and he parked his bus out there all day. So I asked about that. I said, well, this guy is not a part of a governmental organization. In fact, this organization is all about voting. They don't care who you vote for. It's kind of like the NAACP. We're not promoting any sort of party. They're not political whatsoever. It's about mobilizing black voters, because mobilizing black voters is black power. And we already know there's 37 states out there right now that have put in voter suppression laws, trying to pass legislation from Georgia, the worst offender, to Alabama. Louisiana's not one of them, fortunately. But they're trying to stymie the vote after they figured out what happened losing those 2 Senate seats. In fact, I saw one of the co-founders of Black Voters Matter on Don Lemon night before last, Latasha Brown. I agree with her 100%. So getting back to the excuse of why they allowed that bus, which is not a governmental organization, to park all day long, she told me, quote, well, that wasn't us, that was the radio station. Now, there's a radio station that's housed in the mall, and it just so happened that God would have me, I was headed to that radio station, because guess what? After we had the flyers, after we had the commercials running, because I thought all they had to do was get the policy and we were good to go. That was not the case. That was absolutely not the case. So I knew the answer to the question before I asked her. So when the bus was out there months ago for the original election, I called my friend at that radio station that day. Say, man, that was a good job. You had a guy on an interview that day. I said, well, how'd you get that interview? I know about that bus being there. He told me to quote, oh, they were out there in the parking lot. We saw them out there, and I just told one of my people to go grab them and give them a little minute on the microphone. So one, I knew that was a lie, because he did not organize or authorize anything. He saw the bus out there, and he just went and grabbed them. So him organizing an event and that going through the radio station is a flat-out lie, and that dog don't hunt with me. So that is yet another excuse. And had Mitch Daniels called me, in fairness to him, and I have no quarrel with Mitch, I have no quarrel with the mall management locally. It's my understanding that this came from the top. They either went to New York or to Dallas to get a decision, because whenever some people hear black, immediately red flags go up. And certainly when you talk about mobilizing black voters, I think this is just a form, yet another form of voter suppression. So getting back to them not contacting me, last week, you think if Brother Daniels, the pastor, would have called Tony Brown, the first thing out of his mouth should have been, Tony, they're going to need to be a part of a governmental organization. So why would they make us jump through all of these hoops? For 5 days, we contacted them either on Thursday or Friday of last week, and on yesterday, 48 hours before the event, there was no mention of being connected to a governmental organization, because me and my friend have friends, and I'm not anybody, but I know people in high places. We could have gotten a governmental organization to co-sign on this, like Gator or anybody else. In fact, Mr. Spears just left here with Gator, talking about the grant program where they're trying to fix 50 houses absolutely free for seniors. So what they told me was not true, and when I asked her, can you send me that policy in writing about this bus being parked there, having to have be a part of a government organization, she clammed up, and I never got that sent to me in writing. So what I'm saying is that is the truth as I know it. I'm showing it to you, and yet what they're telling us, that don't hunt with me. What I really think happened is this is some Trump supporters or people who don't like black folks being mobilized. And I'm not saying it's the local folk. I'm thinking it came all the way from the top. Because when they hear black, some people get terribly afraid. And when you add voter to that, man, that's a double whammy. Let's go live to Amari Hosang, Louisiana coordinator for black voters. So, Amari, you know what I know. You know the truth. This is the truth, and I'll put my hand on the stack of Bibles. Why didn't they tell us when we initially contacted them last week that your organization needed to be attached to a government organization? You think this is just an excuse of what they're using? And why did they wait so late, 2 days before the event, you think, to tell us?
Well, hey, good morning, Brother Tony.
Good
Thank you so
morning.
much for having me on, first of all. But, you know, as someone who works for a black voting rights organization, unfortunately, I have to say that I'm not surprised by what I'm hearing. You know, this sounds like one of many. It sounds like one of a long saga of black folks, black organizations, and black institutions being kept out so that our vote, our community, our culture can be easily suppressed. This is why we do the organizing that we do. This is why we are coming with our bus tour, because we recognize that in a state, even with a Democratic governor, that there are those that are out there in this state that would much rather not see our voters mobilized. They'd much rather see our communities not empowered, because it makes it simpler for them to suppress us. And so, you know, I do want to say, you know, earlier on when you were sharing, you know, you mentioned Georgia, you mentioned Alabama. Well, hey, Louisiana is not exempt from that poor legislation that is working to suppress voters. On April 12th, when the legislative session starts, we will be challenging the 3-minute rule with organizations like the Power Coalition for Equity and Justice and Vote and the NAACP, because no one can sit and read through complicated language on a ballot if they don't know what it means in 3 minutes and vote in a way that helps to benefit their community. We'll be pushing back against them trying to end COVID-19 voting rules, which enables us to, number one, have 2 weeks early voting. We benefited from that. That enables us to be able to go and vote without an excuse around COVID-19. We need that to continue because COVID-19 is still happening. And as many of your listeners, and as you know, COVID-19 disproportionately impacted black folks and black voters. So it's important that those rules do not end. So Louisiana is not exempt from voter suppression, and this attempt to keep us out, if that is what it was, from doing this event is definitely not something that we are surprised by. But here's the thing.
Okay.
We have a historic election coming up on Saturday, March 20th.
That's right.
And we have a responsibility as black voters and black citizens to get out there and vote. Now we see just one more example of how folks want to keep us from building power in our communities. So we have to do what we call push back. We have to push back against it by spreading the word like Brother Tony, like you have been doing for the past week. We have to push back by showing up to this We Got Power tour, despite the fact that we had to change locations. We have to push back by making sure that we patronize black businesses
Amen.
and black business owners. We have to push back by showing up to the polls, not just one or two of us, 100 or 200 of us, but by the thousands, because we know how many black voters are in this district, and we know the type of history that we can make, and we know that we have the opportunity to elect a representative that will actually represent our communities. We talk about we want our STEMI. We got to have somebody up there that's going to make sure our community gets our stimulus check and other resources that we need around the year. So we got to push back.
Let me ask you this. How should the voters here in Alexandria feel about the mall? I mean, should they keep, the mall wants our green dollars, but apparently they don't want black people to mobilize. And I'm not talking about the local management, because I know this thing went above their head. It went all the way to either New York or Dallas, whoever owns this doggone thing. You think blacks need to push back like a boycott economically? And if so, what would that say to the mall the next time? Because this is not going to be the first bus tour, and this is not going to be the end of Black Voters Matter after this election. You guys are here to stay.
Yeah, we're here. Look, for me to really answer that question intelligently, I would want to sit down and strategize with the folks in the community, because you already know the history and the context around this mall.
Yeah, man.
But I will say, on a general level, it's important to deal with those who deal with you, to support those who support you.
Amen.
Right?
Right.
So, a question I would have is, in this mall, are there any black-owned businesses?
There are.
Right? Okay. And so looking and answering questions about the benefit that this mall or any institution has on the black community. Are those dollars flowing back into our community? Are they flowing back into our schools? Are they flowing back into our infrastructure? Are they benefiting us in any way, or are we just simply consumers? Are we just spending our black dollar outside of our community? Right? So when we talk about Black Voters Matter, we're not just talking about elections.
Amen.
We're talking about the exercise of building power. And economic power is a type of power for our community. And so we really have to examine long and hard, right? Because I like to shop. I'm going to go get me some
absolutely.
today,
And I like
right?
to eat. That's right.
But at the end of the day, I'm going to shop where I know the business owner and I know the business institution is donating or working back or benefiting my community in some type of way, right? And so you think back to the civil rights movement. The boycott was one of the most effective strategies that they used, but there were many other strategies, and they didn't just shoot the gun, right?
That's
they
right.
sat down and they strategized with what would benefit the community in the most long-term way. And also, we don't want to hurt the black-owned businesses in the mall.
Absolutely.
Right?
That's
so
right.
maybe it's not a boycott of the mall, but maybe a support campaign of those black businesses that are there.
I
So
like
it is
that.
definitely a conversation that we have to have, but we have to hold center. This work that we're doing is about building power in our communities, and long gone needs to be the day that we continue to do things that hurt our communities simply because we need to consume or simply because we don't know about something. We have to push back when people do not support the work that we're doing for ourselves.
Absolutely. She's talking about recirculating your black dollars, folks. And my mantra is doing business with people who do business with us. And again, we have to look at what is the mall actually doing, because they are a group. They make a lot of money, rental, maybe not so much because of COVID-19, but what are they doing in the schools? Are they supporting efforts in the schools? Are they sponsoring events? I know I've never had advertisement as the only 100% black-owned radio station in this entire town run any commercial from the mall. And I'm not speaking on just my behalf. So I don't see the mall supporting us. I don't see the mall supporting Peabody Warhorse Radio Network. They never have. And I've gone to them over the years, even when I worked for white radio stations. Bottom line here is they're more apt to support that than to support us. But again, folks, what we're saying is just be conscious, be woke about what's going on. Let's talk about who we're inviting to this event real quick before I let you go. Last question. We're encouraging
who to come out on tomorrow here to, of course, outside the FM 107.5 studios at 2211 North MacArthur Drive, the Guest House Inn and Suites right next to the Sci Convention Center. Free food, free music, everything is free, and we want to get a big crowd out here. We're going to have people out here, maybe some local elected officials, maybe a few candidates will drop by. We just want to get everybody out here. If you're black, you're voting age, we want you out here.
Absolutely. We need everybody to come out, and we need everybody to bring a friend. Bring a friend and a family. If you did not vote during early voting, which ended last Saturday, we need for you to vote this Saturday. So, this, again, we have an opportunity to make history in District 5. And last election, during the primary, we were only 500 votes away from getting somebody who looks like us in a district that we typically don't have somebody that looks like us.
Amen.
So it's really important that we maximize this opportunity, come out, fellowship, because we also have to remember that BBM is also about black joy and black happiness. Let's celebrate together. Let's celebrate the opportunity to mobilize and organize together. And let's appreciate folks like Brother Tony, Brother Chris Williams, Brother Alan Singing, who have been organizing this event across 4 different markets so that we could be able to enable and empower one another.
Well, I tell you what, we love our community. We love what you guys are doing, and I love being black. Black power. Black
Absolutely.
power. Absolutely. We're going to see
I
you.
look forward to seeing you all on Friday.
Absolutely. We will see you on Friday. That's tomorrow. Again, folks, from 3 to 6. That's Sister Omari Hosang, Louisiana Coordinator for Black Voters Matter. And, of course, bottom line, I wanted y'all to know the truth, folks. And I'm hoping to meet with them all, folks. I'm hoping to meet with them and say, hey, you guys need to be a little bit more sensitive. This was a unique opportunity. Think about that. This is what I was thinking and why I chose them all. 1, it was a central location. 2, I wanted everybody to feel comfortable to go there. And 2, I was hoping to say, those folks have been kind of hurting in the mall. I know with the pandemic and the frost and, business has been slow, that, hey, if we can get 300 people on the mall parking lot, guess where they may go after they leave the rally? They might go do a little shopping. I was looking at it to be a benefit to the mall. But there's one thing y'all got to know about me. The little things we all do, we do well. And I thought about this, and the people that have been that I've been associated with, well, my good friend, my homeboy Alan Simeon, and Dr. Chris Williams, and you got Otis up there in Monroe. We got Art Edwards up there in Monroe. So we talk all over the state. We mobilize. We're organized. We have networks all over the state. So bottom line here is I saw it as an opportunity for the mall to win, to do something that was positive, and to get a lot of people on their parking lot who would go maybe to the food court, buy some food, maybe go get their nails done, and go do a little shopping. Apparently, they didn't see it that way. But I'm still hoping that we can meet with the mall, find out what we can do to mitigate this type of situation. And the next time I call you, as a man of God and as a friend, give me the respect and the dignity that I gave you. Return my phone call. Don't have somebody else call me up, because had you and I spoken, I'm sure I would have asked the right question. What do we need to have in place to make this happen? I didn't get that opportunity. Instead, you sent somebody else, and she did her job. I can't take anything away from her. But the time to tell us that we needed to be affiliated with a governmental organization was last week when I expected a phone call, not 2 days before the event. And that's what I have to say. And that's coming clean or staying away nasty. More eyes open when we come back, folks. Don't go away.
You are listening to FM 107.5 The Vibe and 1110 AM KTTP, Alexandria Pineville.
Hello, everyone. I'm Tony Brown. This is your statewide news you can use on this Thursday. It's the 18th day of the month of March. News being brought to you by the Alexandria Emergency Room Hospital. We're going to start down in Baton Rouge, where a teenager died at the hospital last night after being shot. In fact, it was Monday night. After being shot while riding a vehicle near North Acadian Throwaway, the victim was identified as 17-year-old Jeremiah Lowry, a passenger in the vehicle that was traveling eastbound on Dalton Street. The shooting occurred a little after 7:30 p.m. in the 3400 block of Dalton, which is near its intersection, Throwaway. Police said Lowry was with 3 other people in the vehicle, and the other 2 were not injured in the shooting. Lowry was brought to the hospital where he later died. The Alexandria Police Department has arrested a suspect believed to be involved in the shooting that occurred in the 600 block of Bennett Street back on March the 14th. 2 minors, ages 5 years old and 16, received non-life-threatening gunshot wounds from the incident. Alexandria Police say 18-year-old Denzel Washington, 18-year-old Denzel Washington of Marksville was charged with 2 counts of attempted first-degree murder. Anyone with information about this incident is being asked to contact the Alexandria Police Department. Alexandria Interim Police Chief Ronnie Howard said the police department is working to address several community concerns, including violent crime and the current officer shortage. Howard said officers worked 12 homicides so far this year. That's an uptick from the 2020 figures. He said one obstacle officers face trying to solve crimes is a lack of information in the community. Community participation, he said, is one of the biggest problems. He said they can join a community watch group. They can start one. Howard also pointed to the Alexandria Citizens Academy. He said through the program, citizens can become more aware of procedures that police officers do out in the field and become involved if they see anything. If they see something, say something. Another problem is the department is the numbers of officers. Howard said the current number of vacancies now sit at 42. That's 42 positions that are gone. While acknowledging the shortage, Howard said the city is not under patrol. Wow, how can you say that when a third of your force is missing? A Louisiana state trooper who shot an unarmed man as he fled from 2018 traffic stop on Perkins Road, partially paralyzing him, was fired Tuesday, months after she was arrested and later indicted in the shooting. Kasha Dominique received notice of her termination effective at 4:30 p.m. on Tuesday. State police said she had been on administration leave since an East Baton Rouge grand jury indicted her in October on counts of aggravated second-degree and illegal use of a weapon. Before that, she was assigned to desk duty following the 2018 shooting, which left Clifton Dilly paralyzed. Dilly, then 19, was a passenger in a car whose driver had pulled over for allegedly making an illegal U-turn on Perkins Road. Records indicate conflicting accounts of the exact circumstance. A state police investigator said Dilly was charging toward Dominique when he was shot, but a federal lawsuit claims he was running away. Dominique initially reported to dispatch that she had fired her gun at Dilly rather than her service weapon, which slowed the emergency response, the lawsuit said. Her indictment, a stun gun rather than her gun. Her indictment marked an unusual outcome for law enforcement shooting cases, which often result in no criminal charges for the officer involved. If convicted of battery, Dominique faces up to 15 years in prison and a $10,000 fine. The weapon counts is punishable by up to 2 years in prison and a fine of $1,000. The kid got killed. He was shot in the back. And she's getting a battery charge? My Lord. 3 retired federal judges have taken the highly unusual step of intervening in the case of a Baton Rouge woman who claims a local prosecutor mishandled her 2016 rape case involving Angola Deputy Warden. The former judges, one as an ex-U.S. Attorney General, say a 3-judge panel of the 5th U.S. Circuit Court of Appeals made a mistake last month when it ordered the dismissal of Priscilla Lefebure's lawsuit against 20th Judicial District Attorney Sam DeQuilla. Lefebure alleges DeQuilla failed to adequately pursue rape charges against then Angola Assistant Warden Barrett Bacher. Lefebure's attorney last month asked the entire Fifth Circuit to rehear the case and revive the lawsuit. In a brief filed Friday in support of Lefebure, former 9th U.S. Circuit Court of Appeals Judge Alex Kaczynski and ex-U.S. District Judge F.A. Little Jr. of Louisiana and Michael McCaskey of New York joined the call for the New Orleans-based Fifth Circuit to rehear the case. McCaskey was the nation's Attorney General during the last 14 months of President George W. Bush's term. The Fifth Circuit panel in its February 9th ruling called the conduct of local law enforcement in the case sickening, but the panel said it had no authority to force DeQuilla or any district attorney to investigate or prosecute someone and, as a result, had to end her lawsuit.
Blogger and community activist Gary Chambers, who was removed from a 2017 Baton Rouge Metro Council meeting and arrested after trying to discuss the Alton Sterling case during a public hearing on another matter, told federal judge Wednesday he had never seen anyone ejected from the council room for expressing their views. But during the May 10, 2017 council meeting, Chambers and two other black men, former NAACP Baton Rouge chapter president Mike McClanahan and current branch president, let me correct that, not chapter, branch president Eugene Collins, were among 6 city parish residents escorted from the council chambers for doing just that. Chambers, McClanahan, and Collins filed a federal lawsuit later that year against then Mayor Pro Tem Scott Wilson and the city parish, and on Wednesday the case went before U.S. District Judge John D. Gravel for a trial without a jury. Chambers testified during the trial held as a Zoom meeting that he has attended Metro Council meetings since 2015 and had never seen Wilson, who was a mayor pro tem, ran council meetings, have anyone removed from the council hall for speaking off topic until that day during the 3-minute per person public comment period. He said, I've never seen anybody other than black folk put out of the council meeting, Chambers said, who is running for Congress in Saturday's election, told D. Gravel. That's District 2, not our district, District 5. McClanahan, who is now the NAACP National Board member, and Collins offered similar testimony. McClanahan said, I've never seen it happen before, who noted he has attended hundreds of council meetings. Leaders reprimanded former LSU President F. King Alexander. That's right, F. King Alexander put on probation by Oregon State over LSU sexual harassment issues. I said, really, I'm surprised that he still has his job. And, of course, students and organizations on that campus at Oregon State are calling for him to be fired. But leaders just reprimanded LSU President F. Scott King by placing him on probationary status Wednesday, the latest in a wave of discipline departures at other universities related to LSU's mishandling of sexual misconduct allegations in the past 2 years. Just more than 9 months after leaving LSU to lead Oregon's largest university, Alexander found himself fighting to keep his job amid tense scrutiny over his handling of the Title IX complaints and sexual misconduct allegations during his 6 years at Louisiana's flagship college. Though Alexander faced potentially severe discipline, including dismissal, a majority of OSU Board of Trustee members instead approved a more than 10-week-long probationary period that would see a third-party review outstanding questions related to the LSU report and glean feedback from the community, among other requirements. Officials took that action against Alexander following a lengthy hearing centered on the findings from a law firm review that described a total failure of leadership, of physical and dating violence under Alexander's tenure at LSU flagship college. The Hush Blackwell investigation, named after the law firm contracted to conduct it, detailed cultural problems at LSU, in particular the Title IX programs and allegations of improper conduct throughout the university. And it is worth noting that 3 rape allegations took place under Coach Ogeron's watch, and still there's no talk of getting rid of him or any sort of probation or reprimand in the works today. There are many out there who feel that it happened under his watch and he should suffer consequences as well, and I'm definitely one of them. Speaking of football, retired Saints quarterback Drew Brees is keeping mum about whether he will continue raising his family in the Crescent City or elsewhere. He pledged Wednesday we will always have a strong presence in New Orleans. During a media call on Wednesday, Brees said his participation with the development team vying to resurrect the Six Flags site in New Orleans East is among several community initiatives he has planned in the city. The football star didn't elaborate, but he said there's about 3 other things that will slowly become public knowledge over the next week or months. And finally, LSU loosened its restrictions on pregame tailgating for spring sports, allowing limited gatherings on campus before games for the first time since the coronavirus pandemic began last March, the school announced Wednesday. LSU said fans can tailgate before number 10 LSU hosts number 6 Mississippi State in the opening Southeastern Conference baseball game Friday night at Alex Box Stadium. The school hasn't decided on tailgating policy this fall. Tailgating, a beloved tradition for LSU fans, had been banned on campus since last fall because of the virus. LSU let small family groups eat and drink near their cars. It outlawed the trapping of large parties, such as tents, trailers, tables, coolers, grills, and communal food and beverage areas. The coronavirus hasn't gone away. We're opened up on phase 3 to 50% occupancy. So the question is, will you take that chance on going to a tailgate? I know I wouldn't. I'm Tony Brown. That's your statewide news you can use on this Thursday, March the 18th.
Have a good and a blessed day.
Come get on the bus. It's the Black Voters Matter We Got Power bus tour. Louisiana has a chance to make history in the same spirit of what happened in Georgia. It's time to take it to the polls Saturday, March 20th for this historic special election for who will represent us in the 5th Congressional District. Sinlaw voters of all ages, millennials, Gen X, and baby boomers. Come to the Black Voters Matter We Got Power bus tour stop this Friday, March 19th from 3 to 6 p.m. at the Guest House Suites, 2211 North MacArthur Drive parking lot. DJ Bow 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 will be on the ones and twos, free hot dogs and hamburgers by Cajun Dogs Barbecue, and lots of free Black Voters Matter giveaways. It's the Black Voters Matter We Got Power bus tour this Friday, March 19th from 3 to 6 p.m. at the Guest House Suites, 2211 North MacArthur Drive parking lot. It's free, it's fun, and it's necessary. The black vote is black power, and when we use it to get the right person in office, we can move mountains. Move mountains. Move mountains.
Have you checked your bank account or mailbox lately? Remember, only Democrats voted yes to approve your $1,400 stimulus check. It really does matter who your next congressional representative is. Vote for me, number 16, Candy Kristoff, because a vote for me is a vote for you. And I approve this message.
All right, I only got about 5 minutes, and of course, no stranger to Eyes Open. We got Candy Kristoff. She is the lone Democrat in the 5th Congressional District. This is the woman that they're afraid of. This is the woman that's going to make history in the state of Louisiana, not only being the first woman to be elected to Congress in the state of Louisiana, certainly the first woman of color to be elected to Congress in the state of Louisiana. A historic event, Candy. We're glad to have you in the studio. I know I only got a few minutes with you. How important is this? And I just saw the Advocate, the article that was in there. Certainly the front running, they basically, the Republicans have already called this race. I saw that article in the Advocate, which they are predicting 100% that Julia Letlow would be the winner of this race. They're not even saying that there's going to be a runoff. But I was really surprised and shocked that Donald Trump supported her. That kind of set me raw. Even more so than that is that she mentioned in the Advocate that she would not have supported President Biden's rescue plan and the stimulus plan. That I had a problem with that. And you talk about a plan that 85% of Republicans, the voters, actually agree with.
This is why it matters who represent you at the table, so that when the funding is being divided and sliced, the pie is being sliced and decided who is going to get a slice of that pie. That's why it matters that you have me at the table representing you, especially in our uncertain times of today. We may need another stimulus check.
Amen.
And if you don't have the right person at the table, you won't get it. So a vote for me really is a vote for you.
There's people who obviously we've seen in 37 states legislation being written, taking the lead of Georgia of trying to disenfranchise black voters. We still talk about disenfranchising black voters since the 1800s, and we're 150 years later. We're still talking about it. When you have voter suppression in 37 states, laws that are being enacted, put in place, what does that say about the black vote, and was this what was a dream for us, getting those 2 Senate seats, is obviously a nightmare for some other folks when we mobilize and come together.
Let me tell you, the power of our vote is astronomical. And what that says to me, that we're still having this, is that we have not mobilized enough. We have not had people, all people, going out to vote, because they could have shut that down a long time ago by voting those people out.
Now, there's been a lot of obstacles. Black Voters Matter having their obstacles. You've had your obstacles.
Mhm.
Getting the endorsement of the Democratic Party that didn't come with any check. That's highly unusual to give somebody an endorsement, because they endorsed the other guy I was talking about that had the bus out there, and they gave him a lot of money. He got a lot of money, and here you are in a special election, the lone Democrat with the endorsement of the Democratic Party, and they're treating you like a red-headed stepchild.
But I know whose I am.
Come on.
And I know who I am.
I'm going to have some church up in here.
And so God got this. And on March the 20th, he's going to show up and show out.
What's the ballot number?
Number 16. Vote for Candy Kristoff. Number 16, because a vote for me is a vote for you. Go out and vote, and bring someone, and vote like your life matters. Vote like your life and your children's life depended on it, because it really does.
It absolutely does. And again, folks, we want to thank her. Y'all can have an opportunity to meet candidate Candy Kristoff. I call her Sister Kristoff because she's a God-fearing woman. On tomorrow at the Black Voters Matter event that's going to be taking place right here outside our studios. We're inviting everybody to come on out from 3 to 6 tomorrow. You can come meet her personally. For you folk who are listening up in Grambling, she's going to be at the Grambling ball game. You might get a Candy Kristoff t-shirt if you're lucky. I know I'm going to get mine printed. I'm going to have my own t-shirt, but we want to go ahead and let her go to another interview. I want to defer, of course, and let you go, sister. God bless you. Thank you for coming by.
Thank you.
And you and I are going to do a quickie on the phone on tomorrow.
Sounds like a winner.
All right. We're going to have our eyes open when we come back, folks. Don't go away.
I'm Dr. Kelvin Spears, Chief Medical Officer of Alexandria Emergency Hospital, located at 5900 Coliseum Boulevard, next to Wendy's. Our mission at Alexandria Emergency Hospital is to provide our patients, both adults and children, with the best possible healthcare experience, with short wait times and a relaxing environment. Alexandria Emergency Hospital is open 24/7, 365. We have board-certified doctors available for expert pediatric and adult care for both inpatient and ER services. We can provide outpatient services like MRI, X-ray, ultrasound, and CT scans. We have a clinical lab and on-site pharmacy and can facilitate inpatient stays through our state-of-the-art hospital rooms. For more information about our services, you can give us a call at 318-386-8110. That's 318-386-8110. Or visit us online at www.alexandriaer.com. Again, I'm Dr. Kelvin Spears. And remember, for all your emergency needs, come see us at Alexandria Emergency Hospital, your hometown ER and hospital.
COVID-19 has taken its toll on our communities in Louisiana. From loss of life to loss of income, families and businesses across our state have been seriously impacted by COVID. The Louisiana Department of Health understands this, and they're taking action to ensure all residents have equal access to the FDA-authorized vaccines. To find out when and where you can go sleeves up and get vaccinated, visit covidvaccine.la.gov or call 211.
Hi, this is Bianca Brown, the Mobile Cincy Lady. Are you looking for a dream job? Well, you need to give me a call today. I'm looking for new recruits to join my team of Cincy consultants. Join Cincy today and get your starter kit for only $99 plus shipping and tax.